All right, it's your boy JS One Supplier. VVCRadio.com, VVCLife magazine. You know how we do it. We back in the building on a wonderful Wednesday? Today's Wednesday. Okay, cool.
Wednesday. It's Wednesday.
I am so blessed and honored to have, let's see, she's a writer. She's a musician.
Yeah.
She is a woman. She is black. And now I'm finding out she's you have to tell me the terminology that I have to use to define your mysticism. So I would define you as a mystic or a spiritualist?
Yeah.
That would be a word?
I don't know. I'm still finding the language for it as well because I kind of just fell into doing tarot specifically, but I'd say I'm an energetic tuner of sorts.
An energetic tuner.
Yeah.
That's different.
Yeah.
I never thought about that. An energetic tuner.
Or energetic tuner.
Energetic tuner.
Because energetic, tuning of the energy, because people say, you need to be in tune with your star player, be in tune with yourself. So, as a tuner, what I would do is assist you in maybe, messages that you don't pay attention to or, things that you, subconsciously need to release, things you need to let go of. And that can happen through tarot readings. That can happen through, me making you a mantra, which kind of flows in with my being a musician. Or, whatever it is that you need that I am capable of doing.
Word. So you're like a modern day golly, what was the person? I got her face in my brain and I'm trying to connect the name to the face. I would say you are almost like, God damn it, I forgot that fast. This sucks.
It's okay.
But Wifty is in the building. If this the word, is that the way? Should I call you Wifty Banger? What's your Instagram? Was it Wifty Bangers?
It's my name, Wifty Bangura.
Wait a minute, Wifty Bangura.
Yeah.
Did I pronounce it right?
Yeah, you did.
Bangura.
All right. You can say Wifty, you can say Wifty Bangura.
So what does, if I may ask, Bangura it's
my family name. So that's my last name. It's Sierra Leonean name.
Word.
My dad's last name.
What does it mean?
I don't know.
You don't even know? Okay,
I don't know.
Cool.
I do know that. Yeah, it's a Sierra Leonean name. It's my family name. So
that's ill.
Yeah.
My last name is Smith, so it's boring.
Word.
But the only thing is anonymity, because nobody will ever be able to find me, because there are a gajillion Smiths out there.
Yeah. Well,
somebody gonna find you, Bangura. They're gonna be able to.
Man, I mean, if anything, they would be limited. They would definitely, because Bangura is a common name in Sierra Leone as well. Oh, now, while we all might be related,
you're the Smith of Sierra Leone.
I'm definitely the Smith of Sierra Leone, 100%.
That's what's up.
Yeah.
Okay. So, does your is the family background connected to the mysticism? Is this like a family business?
No. Well, It's interesting because my dad's side of the family is they're Muslim, and my mom's side, a lot of them are Christian, and they're my grandma was a deacon in the church. My grandma on my mom's side, she was a deacon in the church, but she did very witch-like shit. She would do things be hand me the salt, and I would hand her the salt, and I'd be like, why do you need me to hand you salt at 11:44 a.m. specifically? She would go and throw it outside and cast it on somebody because somebody was talking shit. You know what I'm saying? And she would say things like, put salt in the back of your car so that you don't get into an accident. But then she would pray out of the Bible, and it was just she was just very interesting. She never explicitly said, I am a witch. In fact, she hated the term witch.
Yeah, I don't think any person would like to be referred to as a witch unless they are really on that witch type shit. You
or
know
they
what I mean?
have taken the word back in the same way that we've taken the word nigga back. You know what I'm saying? Or slut or whatever, right?
Right.
So not directly connected to mysticism, and we were we do these things, but very much so still practicing indigenous cultural things, but somehow integrating them into colonialism, what colonialism brought to Sierra Leone, which Islam and Christianity.
What I find completely interesting about you, even from the first time I met, before I even, because you really didn't speak about it, you hinted at a few little things here and there.
Yeah.
But the thing as I found out more about you on your Instagram page, is that people your age, young people not really into mysticism like that. Yeah. Or they don't see to embrace either. I mean, I feel and your generation gets more indoctrinated and become, to me, I feel they'll become religious obsessed, meaning if they go Christian, they go super Christian.
Yeah.
But it's not they become spiritual. It's just they become dogmatic about a process.
Yeah.
Or like, okay, got to go to this church on Sunday, wear the nice outfit, let's point the fingers at everybody that's not doing what we think we should be doing, and then let's go around and say Jesus as 89,000 times before the sun goes down.
Yeah.
Like, so I can prove to other people that I'm a part of this gang.
Right.
Which is great. Shout out to all of the Christian gang members. We hope you guys continue to judge everybody and cause as much havoc and controversy as possible. We love you guys. And then, or either that, or you become Muslim and you've, got your thing, or you're, Jewish or this, whatever.
Yeah.
But for you to walk in that gray area, to live in that space, which I define that spiritual space is like, it's like a space in between.
Yeah, it's very eclectic spirituality, definitely pulling from, because I do recognize that there are a lot of similarities in the like doctrines that are like most prevalent, like Hinduism and Buddhism and Christianity and Islam. Like there are a lot of the same stories happening. And then when you go into like the Orisha, which is the Yoruba, belief system, and like, or Ifa, Ifa is the actual name of the religion, and the Orisha are like the gods and goddesses that exist in that space. A lot of the same creation stories, a lot of the very parallel stories as to like things that happen, all the parables that we learn as like Christian children, like are existing in these other cultures. So acknowledging that and then pulling on what resonates with me, pulling on what I learned from like my grandma and things like that is what has shaped my spiritual walk.
Yo, that's deep. Only because it takes a lot. It takes some gugushkas to decide to walk the space in between. To just say, I ain't knocking what y'all doing, but that's not really me.
Yeah.
To really just and it's to me, I lie a lot and just say, yes, I'm Christian. Or yeah, I'm Muslim. Yeah, I'm Jewish. I'll just take whatever's the prominent group of people in that room.
You're like, yeah,
I'm that. You know what I mean? I'm all with it. Yeah, let's do it. Like, you know what I mean? But only because I don't want to have discussions with most people about being spiritual or having a belief in the space in between, and as I'll define it today, because I don't have another word that I can really put on it.
Yeah.
And it's irritating because if you do get dragged into it, you have to start describing things that are going to go so beyond their typical understanding, and then it's just kind of like it's like trying to describe sci-fi to somebody who's never seen sci-fi. Like, okay, so we got spaceships and then aliens, nigga, what? Right. Yo, he had a phaser. Like, what's that? No, so you transporting now? Oh, hyperdrive. Okay, that's what it is. It's like,
yo, I'm hip. Interestingly enough, there is a science of spirituality as well.
Yes, it is.
Some of the greatest scientists in the world, when they come to their conclusions, realize that there is some type of like being, higher being that most people call it, that exists, that has created all of this, or that somehow has spun off into like all of what life is now. You feel me? So I absolutely don't mind going into these conversations, but people don't ask me about spirituality at all. I don't know if it's because of an intimidation thing or if it's because they just think...
You're intimidated?
Them being intimidated by me.
That's what I'm saying. You're intimidated.
Yeah, right. And I'm like, what? You know, I don't think...
Not saying that I don't think you could be. You could definitely be intimidating.
It's never my intention to be intimidating, but I think that it might be intimidation of like just that whole realm of like knowledge is something that not a lot of people talk about unless they are already existing in those spaces. So that could be what's intimidating. That could be what prevents the conversation from happening. Or people just like, oh, I know, but I don't need to know any more than you're showing me. So whatever. Yeah.
I think it's just better to not get into it. Because then there comes the judgment and then there's the separation. So then it's like, I'm going to go and sit on the other side of the room.
Yeah.
Because you believe in something else and my guy walks on water. So I don't know what you guys do. And you be like, oh my God, for real?
Yeah.
So you can believe he can walk on water, but you can't believe that, I can speak to spirits. Or that this is or
that you like you and Jesus are also like family, or you and Jesus are also friends, or that Jesus can talk to you consistently, like, or whatever. Because people will like believe.
You just went out the window on that one.
Yeah, because people
talk
like
to Jesus.
Yes, absolutely.
Who's talking to Jesus?
In spiritual spaces, Jesus is called an ascended master. He's considered like people.
I mean, his time is over. It's like an old movie. He ran the credits. It's done. Like, I mean, to bring him back for the rerun or for the reboot or a continuation run, I don't know. That's weird. I don't know. That's how people are gonna look.
Yeah,
at it. I'm just saying.
No, that's honest. But I'm like, it's wild that people will be like, oh, I believe in God or I believe in Jesus, but I don't believe that I can communicate with when I need guidance, God or Jesus or my spirit guides or whatever. Like, people will not believe that they can communicate with their spirit guides or communicate with the beings that they seek knowledge from in these books or in these, you know what I'm like. It doesn't. I'm like, how do you believe that you can do one thing but not be able to do the other? Like, if you believe that Jesus like exists in your heart space, but you can't communicate with Jesus,
I can answer this question for you.
Okay.
And all the Christians are gonna hate me after
I'm
this.
ready. No, I'm ready.
Is that if you really listen to sermons and you go to church with Christians, they can't do shit because it's just like, yo, you gotta wait on Jesus. Stop. Don't do nothing. Don't think. Don't make decisions for yourself. Just wait, and God's gonna solve the problem. So you know there is no learn for yourself, build, become a better person. It's just like, try not to sin, but you're probably going to do it.
Yeah.
So just say you're sorry, beg for forgiveness, and then
wait for the return type of thing.
Right.
And what's so funny is that because I am a medium. I have discovered my mediumship, and every time that I am like praying or meditating, because it'll be like, I'll be like, okay, like I need just, the highest divine like love energy to just like exist with me right now as I pray. Who is gonna step forward for me? And sometimes it's like an angel, sometimes it's like my grandma, sometimes it's Jesus. And whenever I'm talking to Jesus, he literally goes, "You already know what to do." Which is so crazy because it's such the opposite of what the teachings of like Jesus or like, not. I mean, well, okay, not the teachings of Jesus and what he said, but like when people will put it into sermons and things like that, they don't ever speak on like Jesus saying these things like trust, you know what I'm saying, or like love people or like love yourself.
Because the church would fall if its followers were not dependent.
Yeah.
So the thing is like it's like the way you build essentially a congregation of Christians is to find a group of individuals who will be dependent upon you for their every whim. So they will continue to give and give and give, which is so funny is because when you look at the Jewish faith, it's completely the opposite. I have to educate you, inform you, and empower you. And we, as a rule, we reinvest in our community because if we are not strong, we cannot survive. If we're not strong, we cannot raise strong children. Christianity is the complete opposite. You don't need nothing. How many times you heard that? You don't need nothing but Jesus.
Yeah.
And you be like, well, nigga, I need money to pay the electric bill. Like, I need a car. I gotta have a job. I gotta have this. But it's always kind of like creating more enablers. Like, you know what I mean? Creating more people to just leech off of a system. And when you move out of that space and you become more of an action person, more of a take responsibility for your spirituality, take responsibility, becoming more educated and deeper. The people that take the step beyond listening to get into understanding always end up transitioning out of that. I don't know if I want to sit in this church anymore. Or I don't know if I just want to, because these people seem to be stuck in a space.
Yeah.
And in this space, that's where all the fights are and the judgments about the outfits.
And I just want to move. Like, I want to move.
And the need to have power and position within an organization.
Right.
Well, I got to be head deacon, blah, 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 because I don't have anything else. Right. You know what I mean? So when we start educating ourselves and we move past that, we realize that none of that stuff really matters.
Yeah.
You know, what matters is educating ourselves, becoming healthy, becoming productive, empowering others, educating others, touching others, becoming the example. Jesus always wanted us to become the example,
right? Not
to wait for an example to come and then touch you so you would automatically be perfect,
right?
Like it's always has been essentially, in my belief, about getting off your butt and making the mistakes and learning from the mistakes and becoming better, you know, and then passing on the education to the next person and being the person. Like, I feel like and this is a personal belief, is that we all are on a journey to become Jesus. We are all on the journey. There's a billion lifetimes you might have to go through until essentially you become the guy that sacrifices his life for everybody else and feels it in his soul.
That is so funny that you say that.
Reincarnation is the process to become. And let's take Jesus out of it. You could be whoever the head of Islam is. You could be. It's always an individual, a selfless, abundantly knowledgeable individual whom is birthed and goes on a journey to touch other individuals and then sacrifices themselves for the greater good of the larger group of people.
Okay.
Which is kind of contrary to the everyday person.
Yo, so Pete, so I just asked this question on Instagram. I was like, do y'all think that the Avatar and Jesus are the same person? So the Avatar The Last Airbender. I swear, this is a cartoon. This is a Nickelodeon cartoon.
She just went into a Nickelodeon
Listen.
I'm letting you have it. You go do your thing.
This show is about this airbender. He's like a 12-year-old boy. And he's the Avatar. The Avatar is someone who is able to master all 4 elements: air, fire, earth, water, right? And he like disappears for 100 years. And in this 100 years, the world goes into chaos. The Fire Nation like takes over everybody's like resources and all this. And like he comes back having to restore balance to the world, right? And having to sacrifice himself for the greater good. But through that whole process, through the entire series, he is learning about himself. He's still a 12-year-old boy having to just grow up and learn about like what it means to love, what it means to like release attachment from like romantic love, what it means to like have true friendship, what it means to know that you have all this power but not abuse this power, like and all of those things. And I'm like, we are all on this journey,
right? And
it's so interesting because I would say that Jesus and the Avatar are the same person. And in that space where you just explained like we're all on this journey to become this way, I would definitely agree in saying that like we all came here with the intention to I have my theories about like why we're about missions, like as far as like being on Gaia, because like if you just to like briefly touch on, just to tap on like
tap
what the integration of like science and spirituality, like there are multi-dimensions. If you believe in the many worlds theory, that there are multiverses existing and that every person is a universe on their own and that we all exist together, meaning that we are a multiverse all together just on the planet Earth, then you believe in the many worlds theories. So like and there are like dimensions, right? There are like, people call them the 7 heavens and people call them like all types of like things, but the basis of that is like there are multiple dimensions that you can exist in at one time. So Earth, right, exists in a certain dimension. So we came here in order to raise the vibration of Earth so we can exist in another dimension, in a higher form of consciousness, whether that be like, so meaning that we're like, if we consider like the lowest form of being to be like chaos and hatred and whatever and war, and the highest dimension to be like love, then like everybody chose to come here to raise the vibration of Earth to the vibration of love. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay, cool, because I just said a lot to get there. But so, if
you want me to add on to that.
Yeah, go ahead.
If you've ever met somebody who suffers from extreme depression, and you see people that are like, if you ever met a truly evil person, most of truly evil people are suffering from lack of love.
Yeah.
Suffering, and as a result of lack of love, suffer from depression. And be in this depression, it's almost, and they will always describe it as being boxed in, being alone, being in the dark, being in a place, in the absence of light, or the absence of knowledge, or an absence of access, or absence of something. In your journey, when people go, do you believe in heaven and hell? No, I don't. I believe in there is your evolution as a person. In your lifetime, you create your own hell, which is you box yourself in, you create a space where
you punish yourself.
You keep yourself from learning. People that will not learn, people that will not evolve, people that will not take the time to find perspective, will not allow somebody to love them. They will not allow themselves to love themselves.
Yeah.
They create their own hell. It's not a demon thing with a guy with a whip and, the big wings. Now, mind you, your perception in depression might cause schizophrenia.
And you might manifest those beings. You will manifest. Absolutely.
I wouldn't say necessarily manifest the beings, but you will, like, I've seen people that I've met that I love, and then other people will see that person as the devil. You will skew the perception of an individual because of the fact that you may not understand the energy of that person.
Yeah.
And you may not understand that. Or you might be scared of that person.
Yeah.
Or you might be not understanding that this person's love might be misconstrued energy-wise. Like, that's how energy is. Like, that's why certain atoms may not go with other atoms or certain things. Whatever. It's the same exact thing. it's almost like as you grow as a person, there are certain information as a child I could tell you're not going to understand until you grow to a space.
Yeah.
You have to grow to understand it.
Right.
So a person who is stuck in a certain place, they're your own personal hell.
Yeah.
The world is completely perceived differently.
Right.
You will create, like you said, I don't say you create it, but you haven't learned how to not look at that individual as a devil and look at them as the better part of you.
Right.
The older you get, it's funny. I never understood why older you, and you're probably in that space. You meet older people and they always be laughing at you. Like, man, you so young, or you a baby, or this. And it's just like, it's not intentional, but most of the time when older people do that, is they're laughing at themselves because they see how they used to be in you.
Yeah.
And they see like, man, yeah, did I really not see the world like that? Was I really that myopic? Or was I, and it's just, that's a reality. Like, the world was like this for me at 25. You know, I had this one goal, and I kind of screwed up a bunch of stuff in the process. Mm-hmm. And as I've gotten older, the more I recognize that was the dumbest way to do it. Like, you know what I mean? Oh my God, this is the most horrible way to have relationships, or this is the most horrible way for me to date, or this is, and you learn, and the world becomes bigger.
Yeah.
And people around you become less combatants and more of just people with different levels of understanding or different levels of things. So somebody could do something inappropriate to me or wrong. I am less likely to be like, I hate this person, I hope they die. And more like, oh, you just did something to me. Oh,
you must be so sad.
You're going through something.
Yeah.
Or they're screaming and hollering and you be like, yo, just calm down, bro.
Yeah.
It's all good. Like, you're dealing with something here, let me help you.
Right.
Versus me saying, let me destroy you or let me hurt you.
Yeah.
Because as you get older, understanding puts you in a space of recognizing that this person is dealing with something versus they're not really trying to attack me. They're just, I am a mirror for them.
Absolutely.
And therefore, they're just reacting to themselves or reacting to a moment.
Yeah.
So, getting back to the original point. As you evolve, things change. The world around you change. And so is your ability to change others. Yeah. Because as you can understand what they're going through, you can try to touch them and you can say or try to give information to help bring them along. And then the other part is you recognize some people are ready, some people aren't.
I was just about to say that too, because I do think what I've learned, because even though I am young in this earthly walk, I have learned from like interacting with people that are older than me and in fact people that are younger than me that it's a matter of like readiness. Like okay, so like I have a cousin, she's 8, and there are some things that she says to me and I'm like, you just taught me like so much just now in the 3-minute conversation we just had about jeans from Kohl's, like whatever, you know what, and she'll compare jeans from Kohl's to like the planets and how they relate, like the moon and how it relates to water signs. Like she is so intelligent, you feel me, because she's ready for that information and to digest that information. So like some people can be in their 50s and not be ready to ingest information about why they had fucked up relationships for the last 20-something years. You know what I'm saying?
Everybody's different. I mean, and then you got to remember that every generation inherently grows. They are born into a world that provides more understanding and education for them in an earlier time frame. Yeah. So like your generation learned a lot more at a younger age than mine did because my parents didn't have the knowledge and understanding of how to communicate information to me. You know, I tell people this all the time. Like, and when I was growing up, it was get the hell out my face and go in the other room. Like, it wasn't let me give you understanding, let me bring you in. It was like, I'm here. My parents' whole thing, even to this day at their age, they're like, my purpose here, feed you, clothe you, house you. Right. It wasn't educate you, bring you to understanding. Let me make you more of a compassionate person. Let me help you. So with your generation, you got that. You got those elements that I was not given because we learned how important those elements were. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, what's interesting is that African families, well, along with black families, but I feel like black families in the Western, like in Western society, what I've noticed is that they've adapted more to the information age versus African families who just want to stay in the dark. Like African families do not prioritize mental health. We don't prioritize spirituality outside of like doctrine, outside of colonialism, which is really upsetting. It's frustrating, but like working through it, I was fortunate enough to have parents that were never like, oh, like my mom didn't make me go to church and my dad didn't make me go to mosque. Like, and my grandma didn't make me do anything except for read the 23rd Psalm only. Like, that was the only, because it was so important for me, which is so interesting because that scripture is very important for me, even though I'm not Christian. And she knew from when I was born, which is why I'm like, she was a mystic 100%, but she never claimed that. You know what I'm saying? I just think that it's very interesting. I was fortunate enough to have the information age, and I was born in the age of Aquarius, which is the age of information, even though my family wasn't the type to like, they were very similar and we're like, we're not here for your understanding, we're here for your protection, or we're here for your, physical guidance, get a job, go to school, that kind of thing. So I don't know how I do know how I became this person, but... Well,
I mean, you had, even within, I would say in every culture, there are traditions that people will carry on and not necessarily understand why they're carrying on a tradition. They had a tradition, and those traditions will instill information, guidance, and understanding. So, like, if like, they'll talk about, I remember Crocodile Dundee, and they're talking about, when you get to a certain age, you go on a walkabout. It's just a journey of understanding. You need to go out into the world and learn about what the world has to offer. And then when you're ready to come back home, and settle down. And then you can raise a family and teach. Right. But you need to get knowledge before you can settle. Right. You need to experience, because a lot of your spirit yearns to learn, yearns to experience, because that's the way we find understanding. That's the way we find balance. And then once you get to that space, that's why older people just have a tendency to sit their ass down. And because once you get to what you need, it's all about creating the base so that you can build for the next generation. Right. So we went way off the reserve here. No, it's cool. I love the conversation, though. You're awesome. You're always welcome. You need a show. So anyway, we'll have to hook you up with something. So you have come two things. I wanted to interview you about the music. Yeah. And I love this. I'm glad we got into talking about your life. And that's great, but I also want to get into this tarot card game. Not game, but tarot card business. What I mean? Because I need to know how my 2020 is going to turn out. Oh, okay. And then we need to find me a relationship, and then we got to figure out where this $1 million is going to come from, so that we can all live on a farm somewhere off in the middle of the woods.
That's a bet.
And a little mysticism kind of, you know how we going to do it. It's going to be turned up.
That's a bet.
You know what I mean? I always wanted to have a huge fucking garden encased in glass with, I don't know, but we're gonna have to make that happen.
Yo, that's beautiful. I've been thinking about so when I watch things that are them zombie apocalypse things and stuff like that, I always think shit, we need to have multiple houses in places, and we need to have underground bunkers that have the ability to grow things and have sunlight, but not have any toxic air come in. I've been thinking about that shit a lot lately too. How is that gonna happen? So I'm here for that.
As a contractor, I'm I could do it, but we need the money for it. So
you know what I'm saying? So that's
that's an interesting thing. I have always been definitely scared of the concept of zombies, and I can't watch zombie movies. And then if I get a glimpse of something, then I'll end up with weeks of zombie dreams. Yeah. Oh my God. It's I can handle anything else in the world. I just cannot handle the zombie.
Yo, your subconscious definitely holds on to not you alone, but our subconscious minds hold on to a lot automatically. It's so interesting. My fiance said that zombie movies are making fun of the world that we live in now, and the movie makers are calling us the zombies, and it's people don't even realize it. And I was that makes a lot of sense.
I heard somebody else also say that based on the political system, whichever group is in power, certain things they'll start putting out certain stuff. So if Democrats are, and I'm not exactly sure which one is which, but the example is if Democrats are in office and they're in control, you'll see more vampire films and this and that and the third. And then if Republicans in, you see more zombie stuff, because that is how the systems view the opposition. So it's just some weird shit. But you'll see waves. If you watch popular culture, there is a wave. Normally there's going to be a wave of werewolf films and vampire films and stuff like that. And then that'll come and go for 2 or 3 years. And then the zombie thing will kick off huge. And then they'll do that for 3, 4, 5 years. And then it just goes back and forth. Zombies have always been was the creator's modern depiction of how they felt like humanity was going to mindless zombies walking around consuming themselves and consuming others, which is scary in itself, that human beings would lose what makes us whom we are. A zombie is everything except for the thing that makes us human. Right. These are just animals with the same abilities as human beings, with no emotion, with no fear, with no sympathy, empathy. Yeah. They're just...
Okay, I have a question.
Go ahead.
So what do you make of all of the historical fiction that's coming out right now? Because that's a wave. Like the Harriet Tubman movie. There's like a Nazi movie where like one side is like the Jewish people that were like trying to get away from the Nazis, and there's a comedy coming out about like Nazi children to like kind of like humanize the Nazi people. Like there are just all this historical fiction happening on like kind of both sides of the spectrum of like what leftist and rightist type of things. Like what do you make of that?
I look at that as the constant trying to find a way to make things that we are embarrassed about palatable. How can we... And it's not... And the creator probably isn't in their mind trying to erase the past, but they're trying to find a way to tell the story so that it doesn't scare the shit out of people. And it doesn't make... Like... When I was in middle school, I literally watched videos of how the Nazi concentration camps were with I saw a video of skin lamps. Oh, wow. I saw videos of the bodies ripped, the big the holes with piles of bodies. I saw that. Yeah. And it became very like, okay, these motherfuckers really went off. But your generation, I think they removed that stuff from the school.
It became very sugar-coated.
Very sugar-coated because they felt like children can't handle this. Children, and that kind of translated into Hollywood. And also Hollywood is always about, we've got to try to make it profitable. We want to help. We want to do something cool. We want you guys to be educated, but we also got to entertain y'all so that we can do another movie too.
Yeah, and sometimes it gets lost in translation. That's
right. Now the problem with that, in losing it in translation, there becomes a blurring of what is reality and what isn't, and how. See, the thing is, like, when you see the skin lamps, you recognize how you don't want that to happen again. Right. Like, yo, I don't care how you feel about Jewish people. That's wrong, period. Yeah, right. Like, you know what I'm saying? It doesn't matter, like, whether you wanted to try to create the perfect person or whatever the German people were trying to go for in that moment, that was wrong. It was right for them to want to regain their pride after having their country ripped apart. Right. That was the right move. Yes. Instill pride. Try to recreate a strong country for yourselves. But to turn on a group of individuals and say, well, you're the problem. Right. And then now we're going to take our anger and our frustration out on this group of people. That is the bad idea. Yeah. Harriet Tubman, for an example,
that was a great movie.
Which I haven't seen it yet. The fiction.
It's so good.
Really?
It's so good. I heard
the complete opposite. Wow.
I thought it was gonna be shit. I thought it was going to be such shit. But like, I feel like they did a very good job at telling the story of her character. But I don't know if they touched on everything. Right. You know what I'm saying? I don't think they really got into like her like as a human being. It was more so her as a figure of like hope for these people. You know what I'm saying? And they called her Moses and all of that. And it was beautiful in that sense. So I know that I don't think that they told everything, but the story as it stands was a beautiful like story.
Yeah. From what so the reviews I heard were from two black men who were in their late 40s, early 50s. So their perspective was there was not as historically correct as it should have been. The things that made her the dope gangster person, they left out. Like, you know what I mean? Oh, she led an army. She was like a colonel at one point or whatever. And they didn't get into that. They were like, dude, that's the thing that makes her awesome. Besides the fact of all these other great things. And they were like, you could have built her up and she could have still done these things and it would have made the film 10 times better. In their opinion, that's how they felt about it. For me, I am in a place of confusion because I'm like you. I'm like, why did you do this movie? Number one. And what is that going to do for me? I try to stay away from slave films. I'm not even going to lie to you. 12 Years a Slave I haven't seen. I don't want to see.
It's definitely triggering. It is. And it's interesting for me because even though like my history, like my family were indentured servants and slaves in Africa. So like my grandma's maiden name is Sawyer, but she wasn't living here. You know, Sawyer is not an African name, but she was not living here. She was living in Africa. So like there was slavery and indentured servitude happening in Africa. So like, but it's all still triggering. It just is. Like for some reason I'm just like, that makes me really upset. It makes me feel really, really sad, like to watch these things.
Yeah, I agree with you. It is triggering, but I think for the most part, I've recognized in my life that I prefer to watch films that are more inspirational and aspirational versus I don't need to see a depiction of me getting beat down or of my people. I'd rather watch films that are going to inspire me or give me that energy or give me something I feel I can work towards. So like most of the films I'm going to watch, my collection is, I'd rather see black people in middle class and upper middle class situations because to me, that's where I'm like, yo, that's where I want to live my life. I don't even like watching Boys in the Hood. I own it, but I don't even want to watch it. After seeing it the first time and recognizing it was a dope film, like, yo, this is great.
Right.
But, bro, that's not the life that I want to live. That's not the life that I want to promote. That's not like, so I'll have it. And it's funny because most of my friends that'll come over, they'll gravitate right to the Ghetto Films first. And like, they're not going to be like, yo, throw the wood on. Or, you know,
I love that movie.
you know, throw this, that, and the third, and it's just like I feel like it's so sad. Like we always want a gun for the like things that are like the lowest common denominator versus certain other things, and inevitably like that's one of the reasons why I loved Power, because yes, it might have been some ghetto hood shit, but he was in a fucking expensive ass suit. You know what I'm saying? He's intelligent as hell. He's strategic. You know what I mean? He's running a large organization. To me, it was the first time I'd ever seen a super intelligent black man playing a role, whether it was he was a bad guy or a good guy. I'm like super impressed how the first 2 or 3 seasons kind of carried him in a certain space, and then unfortunately it's spun off into soap opera land, and you know
that's usually how those, I haven't watched Power, but that's usually how those things go. I watched that like kind of thinking about like when I watched Empire. One thing I really don't like about those kinds of like that kind of like content is that for black women anyway, what I notice is that when the black woman is intelligent, she's evil.
Right.
When the black woman is like dark skinned, she doesn't have much, or like any black woman in those like contexts are always like seeking like power or seeking a man to be the solution to the problem.
And that's why I love Scandal season 1 and 2. She was perfect.
She was fire.
She was perfect, and I was like, she's intelligent, she's powerful, she doesn't need. But then, you gotta fall for the white dude, okay?
But what I appreciated was that they got into that. They got into her being human and her needing love and her just loving this person after all of her defining qualities were made like clear.
Okay, I agree with that. However, they didn't go. They didn't maintain that super intelligent person.
Yeah.
She became less as time went on. Now, whether their point was to show you how love can weaken you or whatever, I didn't like that. I really feel like if this person that you wrote in the first 2 seasons is who she really is, she can be in love and still be powerful at the same time.
Absolutely.
She can still be that cold, calculating, you know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, I feel like she could have been a dope superhero type. And that's another thing that I find depressing. Part of it is I put it on us as a community. It's like it's hard for us to maintain the concept that we are high level, successful, and we can maintain that forever. Like it's like, we could be dope, but then we got to get taken down a peg. Like no, bro. Like
okay. So
that's just pisses me off. But go ahead.
I feel like mass media as a whole, whether it's black mass media, white mass media, what have you, always depict love as being a weakening point. And I firmly believe, and I know this to be true based on my experiences, that love is the strongest thing. Like love is the propeller of such like amazing things. Like love is not separate from intelligence. And I feel like in a lot of mass media, they separate it and make love seem like it's going to be what pulls you away from your focus, pulls you away from your goals, whatever that is. And I feel like that's, as a whole, just a method to like weaken human society so that we can be dependent on material things or be dependent on seeking power or whatever, instead of recognizing that self-love is important and having support in your communities and having support in your families, whatever. All of your relationships, familial, platonic, romantic, are important first. Like, you know what I'm saying? And that is what then radiates into you being able to have these material things or being able to be financially stable or physically stable in whatever means you are seeking to be. Like,
that's deep. Like, yo, that is so deep. Like, I didn't think of it from that perspective. Like, I didn't think of it. But now that you're telling me that, I'm like, because real love is empowering.
Yeah.
The person that is, if you're really in love with a person, you're going to try to make that person the best they can be. You want to be a helpmate. That's the helpmate, a person that's there to assist you, to guide you, and I mean to be your critic and to tell you, you know, when you're doing a little off to the left or to the right, but it's never done out of anger or animosity. It's like, yo, I want you to be the best version of yourself.
Or you know that you are the best version of yourself and you forget that, so like, let me remind you type of thing.
And I feel like us, unfortunately, as a community, black people, is that it was almost too good to be true for us to have like these normal, you know, love relationships. It's like, man, you know, Dr. Cosby, really? He ain't had a, you know what I'm saying? Or these certain people. And I'm like, yo, that's what I really wanted out of Power. I wanted it to get to a place where, okay, if the mate that he had isn't working out, hopefully they can transition. If you're this smart, you can recognize who the person that you've been married to, and you can if you really love that person, you can transition and put her in a place where she can be powerful, and then be powerful with the new mate, or if that was going to be the plan, without it all turning into the sad, depressing thing that it is now. Same thing with Scandal. Like, I stopped watching. I was obsessed about Scandal in the beginning, but like, yo, once she became this babbling, every other scene she's, I'm like, I'm done, bro. Like, I'm not with it. Like, I want to see a strong female character. Like, I wrote a whole movie around having a strong female character that becomes an assassin. You guys will see the film soon. But like, you know what I mean? Like, it's really, because it's essential for that to happen, so that men, you know, us black men can start looking at our black women from a different perspective. Like, yo, like, I've got a strong mother, period. Like, so I don't know how to view women in any other fashion. My mom is not to be played with at any point in time. Like, you know what I'm saying? Now, she has her moments where she can be weak, but that doesn't make her holistically a weak person. You know what I mean? She is a human being that has emotions and feelings the same way all of us do. But I feel like if we have more of those examples, it will put us into a place of more of an appreciation. And then from appreciation, the approach becomes different. If I want to find a mate, then I want to find a mate that is going to have this. And then I can help them become more of that, because by having this strong person, I can become a stronger person. So, don't know how we got there, but then it's crazy.
It's cool. I also feel like I have yet to see anything that expresses love without attachment. And I have yet to see anything that expresses like love that is found without seeking it from somebody else. Like, I have yet to see like someone, like, as I was talking to you about it earlier, like someone that has existed in the space of like loving themselves so much so that it reflects into someone loving them just as much because they love themselves in the same way. Like, I have not seen that. I've only experienced it. You know?
It would be, let's see, it would have been Star Wars is one, Love Without Attachment, and then the other one was, all these movies are all white people, by the way. Forrest Gump.
Okay. Oh yeah, Forrest Gump was a great example of that.
You know what I'm saying?
Oh, you are right. That's one of my favorite movies too. Yeah.
But it just so happens he's not a normal guy. He's dealing with disability.
But you see how they would like take it outside of like what is real, like what can really be a thing. Like, you have to be this person that everybody perceives as dumb or that is kind of slow or whatever, in order for you to be able to understand that love does not exist just in this one person's perception of you or acceptance of you or loving you back or whatever.
But that's a hard thing to sell, player. That's a hard thing to sell. Love without attachment. What you mean? I gotta love them and I don't get to own them? Like, what? Like, I love the person, and like I have a friend that I am intimate with. Okay. And she wants a completely free scenario. Like, and I'm like, yo, I'm cool with you being free over here, frolic as much as you want, but free over there, I'm just not mature enough for it. It's just not gonna happen. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you can have as many girlfriends as you want. Yes. But nah, I'm not really cool with the 1,000 guy friends. Like, you know, intimate size.
No,
like,
that's honest, and those are your boundaries. And then it's also like, well, why did you know? I mean, you don't really have to, because it's not necessarily your place to question her root unless she's willing to share that with you on why she wants those things for herself. But that's also like a part to play in it, and it's not your space to heal that either.
I don't feel like I don't think it's a heal thing or not heal thing. I just think that's just the way she want to live her life. I respect it 100%. Like, yo, and I end up getting into arguments with friends and different people. Like, yo, that's the way she want to be. That's the way she want to be. Like, that's nothing wrong with it. Yeah. Like, I'm like, I respect her more for being that person, knowing what you want and standing on it. Yeah. Yo, that's what you want. That's what's up. And I was willing to back. And like, initially when she first thought about it, I was like, look, I'll back off. Like, yo, have a good life. I hope you find what you're looking for. And she was like, nah, I still want to be friends. All right, cool. Like, we can do that. Like, and I understand your space and you understand my space and we good. But it's hard. Like, it's insane how our society is still grappling with relationship dynamics and how to make it work. And we are still trying to force this, you know what I'm saying? This is how it has to be. That's the only way it's going to work. It's the best way it's going to work. And it's like, yes, if that's what the two of you want, but you have, once again, a more intelligent, more evolved group of beings born into the world. And they're looking at the world differently. Yeah. Because they don't have the old rules. They don't have the old mindset. So it's a natural thing for your generation to be like, why marriage? Yeah. Or like, why just one of us or two of us? Like, all right, well, why we can't have a tree involved? Or why can't it be four of us involved? Like, if we all kicking it and we all have a same understanding, we're not saying, nobody ever said that it was going to be easy. Right. We just said that this is a desire. Yeah. This is where I find solace. This is where I find safety. This is where I find the most love or the most connection. Yeah. So like, it's going to take a generation or two for it to really, you know, become, evolve
normalized,
into, normalized. You know, same thing as the gay community. Like, yo, when I was a kid, bro, like, it was there, but you was getting dogged out every day. Like, you know what I'm saying? And I was caught up in that as a young person. Like, I ain't with that fag shit. Like, but I grew up and you learn, and then once again, it has to hit home. Yeah. To where I had a loved one that I loved dearly, and they were like, thought that I hated them because I used to talk so much shit about gay people and he was gay. And I'm like, fuck. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like, man, I ain't mean it like that. Not you. Like, damn, not you. Like, and they like, well, what's the difference, nigga? And I'm just like, yeah, you're right. You know, I ain't shit. Yeah. All right, well, I ain't really got a reason to be upset or angry. It ain't my shit. I ain't my business. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, like once you get like once again, when you are having an open discussion, like when I'm approached by that family member, it's not Jamal versus a gay person. It's, yo, my cousin is upset and they're hurt behind something that I did. Yeah. So now I gotta be open to be like, damn, what I do, cuz? Man, I fucked up, man. Like, now I gotta process all of that. Now, and now what I did was allow myself to believe something or allow myself to feel something that was not really necessarily my feeling. It was just what everybody around me was talking shit about, and I just kind of took it on because I was a bitch nigga. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? Hey, we all bitch niggas in some shape or form. Like, some people just, we used to shit.
And we grow from it and we learn from it. Right.
You know? A lot of people will get into something, gang banging or whatever. Like, it's some bitch nigga shit. You just doing this shit because you're around a bunch of niggas that was doing it. And you didn't want to feel like an outsider. So you just, yo, you crippin', he crippin', I'm crippin', we crippin'. Right. You know what I'm saying? Or I'm doing this, I'm doing that, you doing that. Like, yo, we fighting, I'm fighting, you fighting, we all fighting. But you might not even have wanted to fight. You might even want to hang with that person. Right. You know what I mean? But I feel like that's a part of evolving. Like you said, you get to a place where you have to look at yourself in the mirror and go, for real though? Yeah. Is this making me better as a person? And that was the real biggest part I had to get to. Me feeling the way I felt or expressing what I was expressing. Is this really making me better as a person? No, it's not. And I'm not only am I not becoming better as a person, I'm hurting somebody that I love. Right. That's crazy. Yeah. So regardless of how I might have felt or whatever, that's something I got to remove because I don't want that person to feel that way about me. And to this day, I still feel like shit. I'll be like, man, I be having to show him extra love. Like, oh, my nigga, like, you know, I love you and shit. Like, you know what I mean? Because I don't want that person to ever feel like he's not appreciated. Yeah. He's not accepted. He's not, you know what I mean, like, protected. I would lay down my life for that nigga. Like, you know what I'm saying? That's my family. You know what I mean? So, and we need to get to that space with every connection. Yeah. But also, because I do agree with that, just recognizing and being able to show unconditional love just to yourself and to the people that, you know, reflect that, you know. But
at the same time acknowledging that part of the healing of all of that and part of the evolving from, you know, what you guys experienced before to what you guys are experiencing now comes with like him acknowledging yes, that you love him unconditionally, but then also that he has to be able to accept that love and he has to be able to love himself as well, and that part is not your responsibility,
right?
And like that is like, I feel like the line that everybody is walking right now, and we're learning how to be like, well, I love you, but I also like cannot love you for you. You know what I'm saying? I can love you as much as I can love you, and this is what I can give, and I can be honest about that. After that, it's up to you.
You have to do it right.
Yeah.
And it's hard to try to show somebody how to love themselves, and it's hard, bro. Like it really is hard. That is a gift that I have right now that I wish that I could just like, yo, here, let me just plop this on your brain.
Right.
Like, you know, let's touch fingers. Nanu. Like, you know what I'm saying? You got it. All right. You love yourself now. Like, you know what I mean? But it's just not that. It really comes with living. Yeah. And that, you know, you got to go on your walkabout. Yeah. And I tell people that all the time, man. I don't give a fuck how many books you read. It ain't nothing like real life to teach you some shit. Like, you know what I mean? There's nothing like meeting people and building relationships. I feel like the most special thing and the worst thing you could do is isolate yourself from the world. You have to meet people and you have to start seeing different ways of living for you to start gaining more understanding. You know, you have to be open to just hearing. You don't have to agree, just hear it. Yeah. And then out of the hearing, whatever works or makes sense to you, and take that in, but taking everything else with it, and see how this thing connects with that thing. Right. You know, and that's a deep component, and that kind of goes into why we're going to do this tarot card reading. We're going to and I will talk all night long
about everything. About everything.
Okay, so while you're doing that, tell me, how did you get started in this?
So I have a friend. Her name is Saki. Hey, Saki.
Hello.
We became friends in college, and we both dropped out, which is funny. But after college, we would go to Dovecote Cafe. It was my favorite cafe. It's on Madison Avenue on the west side of Baltimore. If you would like to go, Dovecote is lit, Black owned. It's owned by two Aquarian people. They're wonderful. But yeah, we were at Dovecote, and she was talking to me about tarot, and she gave me a reading from this intergalactic tarot deck that had a bunch of different aliens from different constellations on it, and it was so wonderful. And she pulled this card, and it was this being, this little blue thing, and she was like, "This is Little Blue." His name was Little Blue, and it was an Arcturian. Arcturians are fifth dimensional creatures, and they sing and all of that, which was so interesting that she pulled that card for me, because she's shuffling like I'm shuffling, and pulls this card that is directly in alignment with me, and I was like, well, what the fuck, you know? Because up until that point, I knew about meditating and receiving messages. I knew about having aligning people in your life, but I didn't know that they were tools really that one could use to process these messages, similar to hieroglyphics, or the Moses in the burning bush. You know what I'm saying? There are these tools that you can use to be able to process these messages. Okay. So after that, she really encouraged me to get my own tarot deck, and then I did. The first deck that I got was this ancient Egyptian tarot deck, and it was cool. But it was just a stepping stone, though, because I realized that I didn't really resonate too much with it, just because I recognized that if I was going to get an African tarot deck, I would want a Sierra Leonean tarot deck or a Nigerian tarot deck, because I'm a quarter Nigerian. Okay. So, I just kept, buying different decks. My mom actually bought me a deck of cards. She bought me an animal spirit guide deck, which was lovely. I didn't bring it, but... Yeah, and
you obviously use this a lot.
Yes,
that has wear on it.
Yes, actually, these were a gift from a friend of mine, this really beautiful man that I had a really dope relationship with. Shout
out to him.
Yeah, shout out to him.
If it wasn't for you, I wouldn't be getting this dope reading.
Yo, yeah. He was wonderful, and he was just like, "Hey, do you want these cards?" And I was like, "I would, sure." And these cards were the ones that became my favorite, and so these are the ones that I use for everything, and they're just wonderful. They're traditional tarot cards, but explained in terms of energy. Then there are chakra cards in here, so chakras your root chakra, throat chakra, what have you. And then there are mental cards, cards that relate to what you're thinking and things like that. So these are called oracle cards. Okay. So yeah, and then I brought over these cards as well. These are affirmation cards. So I pull these at the end of a reading because they have like really dope affirmations for like the end of your readings, kind of round it out, and it's especially good for somebody that had like a really intense reading. So yeah, but yeah, that's how I got into tarot. I started giving my friends readings. I gave one of my poet friends, who's also an Aquarius, I gave him a reading, and he told me like a year later that I had predicted the entire year like that he had experienced like after, and that was like 2 months of me being into tarot, and I had not realized at that time how powerful I was and how powerful like channeling is and how like useful tarot would be to me.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's lit. All right, so what would you recommend a person do to be prepared to receive a reading? To receive a reading? Right.
Just definitely
drink a lot of water. Should I stretch? Should I work out? I don't know if I need to.
Well, I mean, drink a lot of water. Water is great for you. Always drink water. Water definitely, I've learned for me as somebody that channels energy, water is a good way to be clear-headed just in general. Like, it's just good for you. Water is just good for you. But no, wine
maybe? Do you need more wine?
Wine is great.
Do you mind hooking up? That's what I said.
Thank you.
I want this to be the best reading possible.
Oh my God.
So we gotta add a little Merlot to it.
That is so funny. These are just for me though. I feel like, thank you, baby. I feel like to each, that's good.
Thank you.
To each their own, you know. For me, I don't need wine. I like wine. I like just having things that make me feel good around, because things that are gonna sit me in the highest vibration of love is what's gonna help me channel the best. But for somebody that's receiving a reading, just be open to what you hear. Like, a lot of people will ask for advice and then be like, but nah. And I'm like, well, why did you come and get a reading then? You know what I'm saying?
Because they just wanted the experience.
You know, well, that's
some
totally
people.
fine.
Some people like, I've never had a reading before. I just want to see what it's about.
Right. And that's definitely happened to me before as well, where somebody came and got a reading and was like, that don't make no sense. But then like months later hit me up and be like, oh my God, that reading you gave me. Like, and I'm like, well, yeah, the reading was about you being stubborn, and then you saw what happened. Like, and not that that's bad, but yeah, just be open to what you're about to, you know, hear, and recognize that all of it is coming from, like, I'm just here to reflect the knowledge that you already know or forgot that you knew, or things that you are not paying attention to, that you see, but you don't, like, give attention to. You know what I'm saying? I'm not, like, anything bigger or better than the person that's sitting for me.
Word.
So.
Okay, so we have magical stones. Should I have, I might need do I need a like a hat or something?
Nah, you're good.
Okay, cool. All right. We're ready. I didn't know what to do in preparation for this.
Oh, you were totally good.
I burned a little incense before y'all came.
Word.
But I was gonna light some candles, and I was like, nah, she's gonna think this is romantic. I was like, nah, I don't want to do that. Don't do it like that.
I actually brought candles too, but I have stuff in my bag just in case I need them for anything. For some reason, that's included in my emergency materials. Candles. My tarot cards are always in my bag. Because you never know when someone's going to need a reading. But
that's deep. You never know when somebody's going to need a reading.
Yeah.
You at the car shop getting the tires fixed and shit. I got to break this down to you, bro.
Yo, you know what's funny that you say? It is so funny that you say that. Real quick, let me just stop shuffling. I went to Jiffy Lube to get my oil changed, and I ran into a new friend, and we had the most amazing conversation just about like what we're doing and how, and we came to the understanding that we were going to be helping each other in business, and it was so not random. It was so divine that she just happened to be there. You know what I'm saying? So we did give each other this kind of energetic reading while in the Jiffy Lube. So that's really interesting that you say that. You might be, I mean, everybody is psychic, but you know what I'm saying? People may be a little more tuned into themselves than other people.
I'm a spiritual person.
Yeah.
If my mother was here, she'd go into a 45-minute all of the stuff that I used to do in the past when I was younger. So, you know, I just kind of I don't live in that space. I just don't dwell in the space. Yeah. However, I utilize a lot of my talents to keep me safe and to help me do things. So, you know, but
absolutely.
I don't know. I have a set of tarot cards.
Yeah.
I have them in my room. I've had them for close to 20 years. But I only break it out very, very, very rarely.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But I always have, like, when you come in, like you saw how I have certain things at the door, I always have a lot of little small things that people won't notice are spiritual around for the space.
Right, unless you are a spiritualist yourself.
Right, exactly. So, you know, it is what it is.
Yeah.
Can't wait.
Jamal definitely knows how to protect himself. This space is very well protected. But it's like when you walk in, it's like this love energy, and it's like, of course you'll protect this energy.
Yeah. It's gotta be love, man. Like, yo, you have to be comfortable. And I feel like people should feel loved when they come into your home. If they don't feel loved when they come into your home, it's like, that's not really a home. That's just a place. I don't even like my office, like my radio station. I never like when I used to have those offices. I used to spend a lot of time trying to make sure the environment and the energy was just a certain way. Because if I don't feel comfortable, how can anybody else feel comfortable?
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? And you cannot create your best work in a space that does not have love and support and positive energy. So like a lot of times people would come into the station and like say that and be like, yo, this is a dope spot. Like, and people would always want to be in there. And I would have to be like, yo, you can't have 30 people in the station. You know, you have to start. And then people didn't understand that, but I was like, you have to protect the energy, but you also don't want people sucking everything out of the space. And then you have nothing.
And not giving anything to the space.
Absolutely. Correct.
I absolutely agree. That is such an important thing. Lessons in discernment is going to be a very big thing for you in 2020. Let's just go ahead and pull it. Because it's like...
She went hard out the gate. That was crazy.
It just came out. Okay, so let's just start here with this card, Deception and Envy, comes out. I just think that discernment is going to be a very important thing for you. But it's like you're already very keen on that and how to protect yourself, because you are going to be gaining a lot of like it says, recognition and reward. You are going to be gaining a lot of traction with your arts and things that you do, collaboration with people, maybe sponsorships, that kind of thing. But something that's definitely going to change your life, completely shift everything that is happening for you now. But you're already walking in that space where you make more money, but you also gain more haters. You know what I'm saying?
That's unfortunate.
Yeah, but that is it is what it is. It is what it is. I feel like you should give yourself so that tarot card deck. I think what kind of deck is it?
It's like a Native American tarot card deck, and they all have different Native Americans on it. I'll break it out for you.
But I feel because I started with giving myself a tarot reading every day. That's how I started giving people readings. I was giving myself a reading every single day. Even if I didn't really understand everything that was happening, I would just pull the cards and be like, oh, okay, and I write something down or whatever I felt that I needed to write down, and that was just how I learned how to trust myself more. But there's going to definitely be a need for you to really, because I feel like you have this sense of oh, I know what I'm doing already. I know the world that I want to, the universe card comes out. It's I know the world that I'm trying to create, that I am creating. But pulling cards for yourself, or even just journaling every day, something that really takes you away from everything else and puts you in a space with yourself to confront yourself every day, even whether it's loving, it's all loving, but whether it's affirming or criticism or whatever need to focus, that's going to be such a big thing for you for 2020, because you are going to need to really trust yourself, because you're going to be making decisions that are nothing you've ever done before. You're going to be speaking to people in that you've never thought you would be speaking to, in spaces that you did not consider yourself to be a part of. Being the boss of people, delegating, that doesn't seem like something that you feel very comfortable with, because you don't like to make people feel like they're inferior, but you're going to have to be somebody's boss.
You're a genius for that. That's exactly why I hate saying that I'm your boss. I'd rather say we're partners, or you're working with me, or we're working together. But that is the exact reason why I don't like making people feel like they're inferior.
But this power card comes out and this accelerated motion comes out because people are going to look to you for guidance, meaning that you are going to be somebody's boss, and you can claim that without making somebody feel
I am somebody's boss now.
You know what I'm saying?
I've got a few employees.
Yeah, that's gonna be a huge thing. Is there anything else for? Thank you. I can't even finish. It's I can't even finich.
I love your style. This whole style is crazy. The cards are literally jumping out, and she's grabbing the motherfuckers.
Yo, because that's just how spirit be moving. Especially for you as a fire sign, it's things just happening. Fire is the only element that can truly take on a life of its own without any help.
Yeah.
Yes. So the cards will come out based on your energy and how I'm receiving that energy and the energy of your spirit guides, what have you.
If I may say, I'm not the biggest fan of it, but yeah.
It's okay.
Sometimes I want things to slow down.
Yeah.
Sometimes I really want things to slow down, but things have a tendency to, like you said, strike up and take a life of its own very quickly.
So how can we do that? How can the slowing down happen?
What are these?
So these are chakra cards, so base chakra and sacral chakra. So the base chakra, root chakra, is all about the release of shame, the release of guilt, release of attachment, release of like some childhood traumas. But it came out with the sacral chakra. So what I'm feeling like is there's like a need to release like, not sex per se, but there's like a need to release the desire or the idea that you're gonna be fully fulfilled once you have somebody to like be intimate with in that way, because that's not necessarily true. It feels like this right after that, this card came out, which is prosperity begins. It looks like this, and there are either, it could be perceived as like somebody doing their hands like this, or it could be your hand and somebody else's hand. Gotcha. And then this partnerships and alliances card comes out. So I do feel like I feel like there's gonna be someone that comes in that you're going to be very like attracted to, someone that you really want a relationship with, but that's going to be like a distraction, because the truth of the matter is that there's going to be a very like prosperous relationship that comes like business wise, and you're going to have to be able to see past the instant gratification to receive the true benefits of the relationship. Gotcha. So like there is this huge, it's like a really important relationship coming in, like it's really good, but you really have to like be able to move past like the instant gratification, and it might make you feel like, well shit, like I still want to seek, but you have to like stop seeking, like because that relationship is going to be the one that's important, you know. And I don't know, is that meant to grow into anything? Thanks. What I'm feeling like is like, that's not necessarily like, it's like you could do that with this person like, you know, this person like it might be off some, it would be really easy to go into that, but I do feel like what's going to be the highest vibrational expression of this relationship is going to be that of the highest divine light, and that is love. And love does not just mean romanticism, and love does not just mean sexuality. Like love means like everything. So like if this person is wanting to help you with your business, or you see this person and you know that they can help you, or that you can help them with their business, there's some kind of integration that happens with like your creativity, because the sacral chakra, which is where all of your reproductive organs are, which is where all of your creativity also stems from, if this is stimulated, if you find yourself getting a hard on every time you're around this person, that means that you're meant to be in business with this person. It doesn't really mean that you're meant to have sex with this person.
Interesting.
So like be mindful of that. I don't know if that's happening now. Have you met this person already? Like, okay. No, this person may be somebody that you like, that you walked away from recently, or somebody that what I want to say.
It's very interesting. Yeah. There is an individual. Yeah. And I keep them at a distance. Yeah. For multiple reasons, but part of it is I am attracted to them, but I've never communicated that ever to that person. I've never said it, and we've worked together for a while, and it's been very successful. You know what I mean? But I'm kind of in the place that you were saying, where it's just kind of like, it works. We are awesome together when we work together. You know what I'm saying? So I've always not pursued the relationship part, or even try to talk to that person, because of the fact that we are so successful when we work together. So like, but outside of that, I definitely understand where you're coming from. Yeah. In my enlightened aged years, I've become less about, like you said, the relationship stuff, and more about fruitful, not just business relationships, but just better relationships in general. Absolutely. You know what I mean? And I've been blessed with met some really great women over the last few years that have become great friends of mine, whereas in the past I would not allow that to happen. Absolutely. So yes, I definitely understand where you're coming from. Word. So yeah, the cards that came out were emotional loss and trapped in fear. So it makes me like, well, that's my whole life. So what I feel for this is that, like, I feel like when you encounter either this person, or when you will encounter whoever this reading is about, that there will be some level of like fear of loss, so that you don't want to make the wrong choice. But that comes with trusting yourself. You feel me? That comes with like getting to know yourself more, getting to know why you do the things that you do and how you do them, and not judging yourself, but like really loving yourself through those things. Because it's like regardless of what you choose, what I'm hearing is like there are only lessons, not mistakes. There are only lessons is what I'm hearing for these next, like, yep. A car horn just honked. That was perfect time. Yeah.
Like, and there's going to be something new happening regardless of what you choose. So you have to just trust that your decisions are the best things for you, even if they do lead down a path that is a little more tumultuous, because that's okay too, because that just means that there are some things that you have not learned yet. You know what I'm saying?
Got you.
Like,
I try to avoid tumultuous, but if you're saying dive head first in, I'll make sure to holler at you before I start diving in. You know what I mean?
But it's like you have to be able to recognize where your voice is, and to thank you. What is this? Hello, hi, okay. Yeah, so this is definitely just a matter of you trusting your own voice before you trust anybody else's voice. So if you ask somebody and they're like, oh, don't do that, it's probably because it's a reflection of your own fear of your own choices, fear of wanting to this sacrifice card. It doesn't necessarily mean sacrifice. I feel like it's more like how you said already, like diving in head first, or releasing fear. Because this Fool card, this is new beginnings. This is the Fool card in the traditional tarot. The Fool is like, in the traditional tarot, it's an image of a man about to walk off of a cliff, and is like just looking at the sun, like with a really big smile on his face, like not concerned about the danger below, because for real, that cliff could just be like a step into like a field of flowers. Right. You feel me? Or it could be a drop
into destruction.
But that, you know what I'm saying? The bottom of that, like, whatever, could be like water, where like you fall in and you're fine. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But regardless, it's just about like stepping off and like trusting yourself through your choices, and trusting that you're gonna be moving forward, or that like realizing that you cannot like let the fear of making wrong choices cripple you. Because it really does feel like you're already moving in the direction of what you're meant to be doing. You're already moving in that direction, and I feel like the relationships that you encounter right now are not going to be romantic or going to be sexual in nature. Now, while you could have sex with these people, it would definitely end up being a distraction. And okay, spirit, all right, excuse me. The card that came out was balance. So it's like, so what I'm feeling is like, there is a level of like, yes, you can engage in these kinds of intimate relationships, but just don't get caught up in one or the other. So if there's a relationship that you feel like so what I said before was like, if you get a hard on around this person, you're probably meant to be in business with this person. And if that person becomes interested in you or you're interested in them, there is like a level of like, yes, there can be intimacy, there can be divine partnership, if you will, but it's important to recognize that this relationship is not all that
about that, right.
Yeah, but also you don't have to become cold with this person, because it's not all business either. So there's a balance that's going to be happening. Yeah, this is like very general. If you want to ask any questions, like, please feel free to ask questions. Like, I can always pick up cards and like,
I have no clue what to ask. There's three things going on in my brain right now. Number one is the astoundment and listening to what you're saying, because I'm like, wow. The second thing is amazement of how the whole process of how you're doing this. I think this is, as a person who have had many a tarot card reading, this is the first very intense. I've never had such an intense reading. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not saying that in a bad way. I'm saying that in a really, really good way. Like, it's like, wow. And how you speak and the cards are like so in tune with each other. Because I'm like looking at the cards and I'm hearing you and I'm like, yo, that shit is crazy. Like, you know what I mean? Because they're like literally popping out of your hand and they're going right to everything you're saying. So I'm like, yo, that's dope. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. The third thing is complete and utter not knowing what the fuck. I'm bumberfuck right now. Yeah. So like, I'm like, I don't know. Like, yo, what the fuck? I don't know. So, but like when you were with this card, I got a different energy from this one. Not necessarily different from what you were saying, but I was just like, yo, like I felt like more like this was inspiration. I felt like this was more kind of that, but kind of like these were the representation of something different, and I'm still trying to figure that out. Meaning that it's a representation of the inspiration, like a manifestation of the inspiration. I don't know. Got you. And then balance definitely is weird. That whole picture is weird, so I don't even know what to tell you about that. But but I take everything what you were saying. This chick keeps coming out. Wow, that's crazy. Yeah. I have no idea, you know, what she's blinging on, but you gotta love it. You know what I'm saying? So
light card. We can always, that's why we ask questions.
There you go.
Questions we can ask.
Let's get more into light.
This light that your mom needs to know about.
What is she looking at? You know what I mean? All right, she's looking over here. That means she might be looking at the plants.
Yo.
There might be some plant vibes that we getting into.
Thank you. Wow. Yeah, I think that you already, or spirit feels like you already like do a lot as far as protecting your home, making your home a very like energy of like love and like light for sure. So thank you. Okay, so the fulfillment of wishes card just like pops out. I really feel like you're gonna get what you're asking for, like what you're looking for. I feel like like you said, like these are representations of like your inspirations and things like that. I do think that it can be reflected as far as like the people that you're meeting, the choices that you make, or the things that you experience. But recognizing that everything is leading towards this light that is within you. Like everything that is leading towards you. Like you are seeking understanding as opposed to like seeking elsewhere. Does that make sense?
I'll give you complete clarification on what you just said and which you've reiterated about 3 times now.
Yeah.
Okay, so in my journey currently, everything that I've learned and the people I've met and the situations that I've allowed myself to be a part of has helped me get a greater understanding of my purpose. Not knowing that most of my life I didn't know what my purpose was. I kind of had things that I wanted to do, but not understanding purpose. And within the last couple of years, not that I have a full understanding, but it's like the more people I meet and the rooms that I step into shed light onto what people are responding to from me and what I am comfortable with completely and what I want to grow within me. So I wish I had the words to kind of clarify it more, but in essence, what you're saying is completely in line with where I am and where not necessarily that. And this may sound weird too. I necessarily don't want to go or don't need to go or didn't know that I needed to go there. But for the most part, there comes a place, and when I turned 40 was just like, yo, you need to clean house. And you know what I'm saying? Like there were things that I just wanted that I never got. Yeah. And it was because I put me to the side to focus on others or focus on whatever. So like me reassessing, which was in that put me into a place where the more I focused on me, the more everything else seemed to just come to make more sense. So like, you know what I mean? That's why I was like, oh yeah, you're saying all of the right things. Like, you know what I mean? And it's so specifically true. And it's the same way you're saying it, and the same way I'm confused is the same way I've been living my whole entire life at this point. I don't, you know what I mean? Because people make it seem so simple, purpose. Like, yo, like in the movies, they really sell you on the concept of you're gonna get hit by a rock one day, and then like it's gonna come to you, and you're like, I know what my life is all about, and what I'm gonna do, and it's really not that easy from time to time, like, especially when. And I don't want this to sound arrogant, but like when your life has multiple callings, when you wear multiple hats in your life with multiple people, like, you know, and that's the thing. I am in multiple groups of individuals, and I have an integral purpose in all of those groups. Right. So it is kind of hard to. This is the one purpose, or this is the majority purpose when you're split into a lot of people. But one of the foundations, or to really build a stronger foundation, I had to realize that some of those things I had to remove myself from so that I could actually, because I wasn't building a foundation, I was helping others build theirs. Yeah. So I had to come back to building my foundation. Absolutely. So that I could build off of my purpose. I could figure out what the purpose was and then build off of that. So like, yeah, it's complicated and simple all at the same time.
I feel like I definitely think that you are. So this is just going back to like me saying you are definitely you have the ability to give yourself readings if you want to, because I only am able to read the energy, but like only you know the specifics of that energy. You know what I'm saying? When you feel it resonate, and the first thing that you think about is like, you know what I'm saying, what it is.
But you got it. I mean, you've gotten everything. You've gotten everything completely on point, so you got it. Don't doubt it.
No, you in there. Not at all. Not at all.
Like swimwear. Like,
I just wanted to make sure that I affirm you and saying that like you can definitely be giving yourself readings every day.
You're telling me what the elders around me have been telling me for years, bro. Like you need to dig more into your own spirituality so that you can grow more. And I'd be like, I'm good. But
So,
but
like,
you're right. But that's the Aries stubbornness coming out. Don't worry about it.
Nah, I do. I was just about to say something about you being an Aries, because I do want you to be mindful of the things that you say, or things that you say to an ex, things that you say to people when you're drinking, things that you say to people at parties. Because if you're asking for something, if you're asking for someone, if you feel like you're supposed to be in certain spaces with people that you used to be in spaces with, but you're not in those spaces anymore, and you're like, oh, maybe this person, like, just be very mindful about why you withdrew from them or why they withdrew from you, because there are reasons. That's all. Because when you say things, you get what you ask for. You know what I'm saying?
Facts.
But to be very specific as far as why you are wishing to re-enter these spaces, because I feel like there is going to be a point in time, if it hasn't been already, where you're going to want to re-enter spaces with people, or people are going to reach out to you that want to re-enter a certain space with you, whether that be physical, like sexual, familial, platonic, whatever it is.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I'm saying? And there are reasons that you, and like, since you have like pulled away from these people, or they've pulled away from you, there has been a lot of growth that has happened, no matter how painful it's been. So just be mindful of like why you're re-entering those spaces, because I do feel like that is a thing that could occur, or just that you might become aware of. People that you let, it could be people that you let into your house, even, or the reason that you don't have somebody over, someone that used to come over a lot that doesn't come over anymore, or that kind of thing. You know what I'm saying? You just pay attention to those things, because I think that's going to help you a lot with your discernment. Just that very small thing, as far as it could be one relationship, or you know what I'm, that very small thing that explains to you how you are able to process like discernment.
Word.
Yeah. Okay. I just want to pull cards as far as where you're going, because we know where you're at. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
We know where you've been.
Okay.
I want to know, like, you want to know where you're going, and then we can like go ahead and close the reading out. That sound cool?
Yo, I'm with it.
All right. That's a bet.
Woohoo!
It's interesting. I always. No, you good?
Okay.
I give readings differently every time. I always give readings based on like how the cards come out. Sometimes I'll shuffle and I'll shuffle and I'll shuffle, and the cards won't come out until I pull one, because that person, just like me, and we'll be reflecting each other sometimes in all the times in the reading, where like I need to just pull a card because this person is like so stuck that the energy won't even be flowing out. They won't be willing to share anything. So it's like you have to like pull something to start. Or sometimes somebody is so open or so like I don't even know how to explain it, but the cards will just fall out. You know, and that happens. Or I choose to, instead of shuffling, just pull a card. And sometimes, you know, it depends.
There's no set process. It's like whatever the spirit pulls you to.
Yeah, right.
This is the second time that's come out.
Yeah, this one too. So as far as where you're going, your whole, like this disruption card, this is the Tower in the traditional tarot. This represents like illusions falling, anything that was not built on a firm foundation completely crumbling away, and like, or just like anything that you're not meant to exist in, anything, any people, any like places, things that are like not meant for you, like you're gonna be letting go of. And if you don't let go of them, they're just gonna be like, whoop, like ripped, because they're not meant for you to, you know, experience.
Gotcha.
And those things again are all leading to you like holding space for like your destiny. We're like learning the science of destiny right now.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Anything
I'm with
else
it.
for like where Jamal is going? Thank you.
There you go.
Yeah.
You ask, ye shall receive.
Yeah, absolutely. You ask and you shall receive, love. I definitely think that love is coming in for you, but like this love, I do feel like is like gonna be like love for yourself, love for like your authority, like your authority positions. This is definitely gonna be like 2020 is gonna be a year of like business. I'm looking at, does that say gold? Like something drew my eye to that DVD over there.
Okay.
Fool's Gold, but I didn't see Fool's Gold. I just saw gold. Yeah, just like, you know, this is gonna be it's gonna be a very prosperous year for you. I definitely feel like there's gonna be so balance came out upside down, but I don't like reading cards upside down, because I do feel like that just means the energy is far away. I do feel like you're in a space of rebalancing right now, but there is going to be balance restored in everything that you experience in 2020. And 2020 is going to be, it's like perfect vision. It's the year of perfect vision. So it's like whether we want to, like, there is not going to be any believing in illusions. I feel like you're going to be able to see right through people, and there could come people that like, okay. What is that? So So this heartache and loss, and then truth, and then material harvest. Because I was about to say there could come people that may lie, or there could come people that may like not really know how to express themselves. I feel like more so because this truth card, it doesn't feel like there's any lying happening, something like that. But this heartache and loss card, it feels like there might be like somebody younger, or like younger persons. I don't want to say children because that doesn't really make any sense, but it could be like a spiritual child, someone that, maybe comes to you for guidance, something like that, that doesn't really know how to speak on things. So you typically will speak on things for them to understand. That might be a thing that's present. But that's like super small and like isolated. That doesn't feel like the whole energy, but that's something to be mindful of. Can I have a final word for Jamal's journey in 2020? A final word.
That's deep.
Yeah. Thank you. Woo! Okay. So, yeah, you're still on the journey, and the bottom of the deck energy is moving on. So there's gonna be moving on. There's gonna be a lot of like you learning how to hold space for yourself, learning how to trust yourself, learning how to not beat yourself up over things, and how to speak in the affirmative. Really releasing like other people's emotions, because this feels like, if you see like this is like there's more than one face here, because there's more than one voice that you pay attention to when you're thinking. So there's gonna be like there needs to be a release of that, because it's like you're holding on to this card came out. This is like the second or third time this card has come out. There's like this holding on to other people's emotions for like fear of moving on from them, because somehow moving on from them means that you're wrong, which is like not true.
Okay.
Yeah. So that is gonna be like a huge thing. That's like the final word for that. It's gonna be this year is all about you learning about yourself, you trusting yourself, you listening to your own voice, and while you are able to be empathetic and hold compassion for people, that doesn't mean having to take care of them at the detriment of taking care of yourself.
That's a fact. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Wow, that was so deep. I wish I had a round of applause. Thank you. There you go. That's what I'm talking about. Yo, that's ill. That's ill. Yo. How do you feel?
Feel good.
Okay, I feel awesome.
Yeah.
Like I feel like, God damn, you covered a lot of ground in a short amount of time.
I'm glad.
You're like the Days of Thunder of tarot card reading. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, you're the Top Gun of tarot card reading.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
I'm just using terms that are fast. Movies that have fast things going on.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you hit so many personal things. Some things I'm not saying because there is a camera on. So, like, you know what I mean? But understand, you hit it on. Spot on there, buddy. So, like, yeah, I love it. I love it. You are truly talented.
Thank you.
You are truly talented.
Thank you.
So, when you... Is it that fast for you when you're doing the reading for yourself?
Yeah, I'm like sweating. I feel like every time that like I do readings, I just like sweat. No, I'm cool. I'm cool.
All right.
It could also be the one.
Okay. Probably.
Yeah, but what's it called? Yeah, but I typically take more time with myself just because I
are trying to interpret?
Well, no, because a lot of time when somebody reads themselves, it's difficult for somebody to see themselves, because like it's like that whole like log in the eye stick thing that happens with people. But so for me, reading myself, I feel like I should take more time to interpret what I am saying. Like, am I saying only am I seeing what I want to see? You know what I'm saying? Because I feel like it's easier for me because I'm not biased to reading somebody else. But for myself, I'm like, I don't want to believe that I'm not doing the right things for me, or I don't want to believe that I'm not trusting myself. So I have to take more time. So I do a little more. I do some different things with me reading myself. I might do automatic writing, or I might I might like put a song on shuffle and see what comes up, because that way the energy is not biased. Like, so those kinds of things. So I go a little more in depth, whereas like reading other people, it's very easy for me to just move through the energy, because I'm not holding on to anything that and you're not having to try to second and third and fourth guess to make sure that it's right, or they're saying the right thing. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I feel you on that. Like, I am one of the reasons why I never took doing readings of myself is because of that. It's because there will be the second, third, and fourth and fifth kind of trying to interpret, and maybe it means this, maybe it means that. A lot of things that majority of my growth and education is coming from seeing
I can watch somebody do something and will totally see myself.
Yeah.
And say, oh boy, that's me moving right there. Like I said that, or I did that, or wow, wow, I've done that, and I can see why they were so successful and why I was successful. Or I'm like, wow, you're being a jackass, and I've literally been a jackass the same way. Like, you know what I mean? I see a lot of myself in everybody in different actions and different moves. Like, even just what you're doing in the reading, it flashed me back to when I was much, much younger, and I had such a confidence in the energy and in the moment and all of those things like that. So I was like, wow, yeah, there's a lot that I have to learn. There's a lot that I need to go back to, or things that I set down because of whatever reason, being young and dumb and whatever.
That's when you're most fearless.
Right. Yo, that is a fact. You know what I mean? And fear is a good thing, but fear shouldn't stop you. Fear should inform you of what you're doing.
Right, because it's at a base level, it's discernment. It's knowing where to move and why you want to move there or why you don't want to move there. But then fear is what cripple you to not moving.
Right.
You feel me?
Correct.
So yes, there's a level of discernment that needs to come with my recklessness, because I do take advantage of the fact that I am so reckless, because I am discerning, but I'm definitely not afraid to get into some wild shit, because just this is how I am. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
But I am learning through all of that as I experience some wild stuff, to be more discerning, and I can still continue to be just as free as I am while still having discernment.
The most important thing in life that you have to understand as a person that likes to jump into wild stuff, as long as you're grounded, the wind can blow in any direction, you're still not going to go anywhere.
Yeah.
So you have to remember that. And that comes with being a confident person. And once you discover yourself, it's everybody's going around acting crazy and you're just sitting there yep.
Oh, I am the wind.
The moment will pass soon, you know what I mean? Or maybe you guys should chill. And I will tell you something, as a person that has that talent, is that it will scare you because things happen. I've been in accidents. I've been multiple really bad car accidents. Time slows down for me.
It does.
So I'm sitting there and I'm like, yep, I'm getting hit. Boom. Oh, yeah. Well, I'm moving over here. Okay, hope I don't die. And I'm sitting there, and then it's done, and everybody in the car is screaming and crying and going crazy, and I'm just like, all right.
Right.
Let's see if we can get out of the car. All right, you good, my nigga? You good? Okay, we gotta it's the same thing with a lot of, I've been in a lot of, it scares me that I'm like, why the fuck am I not freaking out? I need to freak out. I've been in a car with the top down in my convertible, drunk off my ass, and a gunfight happens, and I'm sitting in the car. I don't move. I don't flinch. I'm just waiting. And I keep drinking. It's 2:00 in the morning. And they're shooting past me
oh my God.
And I'm just drinking. And then I'm as it was over, I was y'all niggas done. That's weird, crazy shit. But the reason why I'm saying that is that some people are blessed to have root and calm. And you have to recognize that it's nothing to fear. It's just something that you need to make sure that when you need to move, you move.
Right.
Because sometimes you'll have a tendency to catch it straight or whatever because you're not in fear or you're whatever. But
or you need to be still.
You need to be still. But learn when it's time to move, you got to move.
Right.
I have lost opportunities because I was being too still. Mm-hmm. When if I had every relationship that I probably could have had that would have been great and married and been happy didn't happen because too still. I was just I saw the moment happened. I let the moment pass, and I said to myself, I just let that pass instead of moving. But you know what I mean.
You learn everything.
Even great opportunities. Yeah. I've lost some great opportunities because you're too still or you're too rooted. So don't. Also, I don't have the most fun sometimes because I'll be in chaotic situations and I am in my own brain. There's titties around, alcohol, stuff is happening, it's crazy, it's fun, and everybody's like, yo. And I'm just
this is a lot of energy that's not mine.
Right.
But I get it, though. I really get it. And I do feel, what was I about to say? I was about to say something. Oh, I was going to say that what I've learned in my experience is that nothing is ever lost. Things are missed because we weren't ready, or they weren't ready for us, or
Very true.
what have you.
Very
You know,
true.
but everything happens in divine timing. Where like it took a whole 4 years for me to actually release a song, because I thought that my album was done 4 years ago, but it wasn't, because there was new music that needed to be written.
Word.
But at the time, I'm thinking, oh, I keep missing these deadlines, or oh, I keep saying that it's gonna come out and it doesn't come out. But like the whole time there was music, there was like more than half of the album that was not even written yet.
I agree, but I also feel like there every life has cheat code moments.
Yeah, okay.
Where you could,
I agree with that.
If you had moved, you could have cheat coded the moment. You might have been able to leapfrog into another situation. You know what I'm saying? But like you said, even when you don't take the leapfrog moment, you know, you still have the benefit of the lessons that come out of it.
Yeah, you get into quantum mechanics now.
Yes.
You talking about quantum physics?
Yeah. There's a lot to it, and I feel like once again, because I wanted to be very clear, because a lot of people will be like, yes, what's meant for me is meant for me, meaning that I never have to move because it's gonna happen.
Yeah,
it's like, no, there are moments where you have to move.
Yeah.
And one of the things of becoming great, like the difference between a poor person and a billionaire, is the fact that that person has learned to move and when to move. Mm-hmm. They make decisions, they move, they get to the same place. They build relationships, they utilize the relationship, they make it big, they move on. They build what they need to build and they keep building. So like in life, not necessarily if you even want to, everybody has different things. Some people look at becoming a billionaire as a thing. Some people just look at having a large family as a thing.
Right.
Like whatever
wealth is defined
by different individuals. Right. So whatever the wealth you are trying to attain, you have to learn how to move and to make decisions and to utilize those things once it happens.
Right.
So yes, of course, there's a divine time, but you know, if you desire to do more, like I have so much that I want to do in my life, only because of boredom. But you know what I'm saying? There's so much I want to do in my life, so I want to learn how to take the cheat codes as they come and how to take you know, I feel like that's the most exciting part of my life now.
You're right.
How can I be right in the moment? How can I take care? How can I do the right thing in the right moments?
Yeah.
How can I make the better decisions, do the bigger things? Because I've got all of that stuff.
Yeah.
So, you know, whatever. So, getting back to the music. What made you decide to become a musician?
Oh my gosh.
This is the longest interview you've probably ever been in. You're gonna be like, yo, we was there for like 2 hours. Deep.
I'm not even tripping. I'm not tripping at all.
Cool. Should I light one of these up for us?
Yeah.
Awesome.
I was like looking at it. I was like, ah.
I'm thinking, yo, you need some tobacco post reading. Like, yo, we need a little.
Yo.
Okay. Back to the music.
I was a kid and I went through some really traumatic shit that nobody should ever have to go through. And it's funny because I did not start writing music until years after all of that happened. And
really?
I was 11 when I wrote my first song. And I remember that it was such a sad, it was a really inspirational song, but it was like about how I felt so low and down as an 11-year-old. And then like, you know, it was like, I'm good, but I'm going to fight through it. And I was like, and reading I just recently like remembered the song like a few weeks ago. And I was like, who the fuck was that? I sound like I'm in my 30s with this song. Like, and it's so interesting because thinking back on the spiritual aspects of why I'm a musician now, thank you. I feel like it's always been my calling to channel energy in a very overt manner, meaning that I was always meant to show myself and the people around me or everything around me that this is something that's possible, to normalize like channeling energy through the medium that is most natural to you. So I think that's what happened, but on a three-dimensional level, my dad was a reggae singer. Okay. He is a reggae. He now owns a record label, but in Sierra Leone, he manages two artists. They're cool. You know, they're top 40s in Sierra Leone. Yeah. His record label is Gen X Records. If you want to check it out. But yeah, he would take me to the studio with him. I would listen to him write songs. I remember I used to love listening to him. He would play recordings in the car, or he would play instrumentals that he was working on, and they would only be the chorus, and he would be writing a song as we're driving somewhere, that kind of thing. And all we listened to were those instrumentals, Lauryn Hill and Bob Marley. and like that was it. That was like
it's such an interesting. I mean, it makes complete sense, but
right. But all I listened to growing up was the Fugees, Lauryn Hill, my dad, and Bob Marley. Like that was it. That was in my dad's car. That was explicit, like what I listened to. And my parents were separated, so like on my mom's side of it, she always listened to the radio, and I came up like when Missy Elliott was really big, and like when she was like really like. I mean, she was always popping. She was popping before I was born.
No, but
like,
there was a point where she was at the height of heat.
Right.
Yeah.
Her and then, what's the name? Busta Rhymes was like a big thing. And Tyrese, who I was convinced looked just like my dad, but they don't look shit alike. But like, I think my dad was bald and Tyrese was bald, so I was convinced that like they were the same person.
Right.
So, like... I know, but yeah, so I like would listen to this music, and I really fell in love with just music in general, and I like loved how much my dad loved music. And I remember we went to a studio session one night, and he was recording something for his second album, and his producer had like 50 plus guitars on the walls, just like a shit ton, like of all types of guitars. And he was this beautiful man, this really really like chill dude, and with like really long grayish brown locks, and he pulled a guitar off of the wall for me to play. And so I just like start plucking at it, and I teach myself happy birthday like on one string, like nice. And my dad like sees me do this and decides to buy me a guitar. So I'm like 11 or 10 or 11, and he bought me a guitar, and I taught myself how to play the guitar. And so I've been playing guitar for like 12 years now. It's still my secondary instrument, but it's the thing I've been playing the longest, if that makes sense.
What's your zodiac sign?
Aquarius.
Get out of here! God damn! You just pick up. I was about to say you a Gemini. I've only seen
a Gemini rising.
I only seen Geminis just pick up an instrument and go, I'm gonna figure this out.
Yeah, like, I'm gonna just do that.
I'm gonna figure it out. I actually have somebody that I spent the time period with, and I literally watched him learn how to play piano. Within a year and a half, I saw him learn how to play piano, learn how to play lead guitar, learn how to play bass. He learned how to play like 4 or 5 different instruments, including the drums. And I'm like, nigga, I'm just learning how to use an MPC. It took me that amount of time to fucking...
Yeah.
And he's fucking learning, man. And he recorded like 5 or 6 albums in that.
That is some Gemini ass shit, though.
Yeah,
That's
like,
some air sign shit in general, but...
He would come into the studio and be like, yo... I want to do a rock and roll album this week. And then he'll just, like, I'll go to work, come back, he'll have 2-3 songs done. I'll go to work, come back, he'll have 3 more songs done.
Right.
Go to work, come back. And then, like, by the end of the week, he'll have 15, like, rock and roll songs. And then the next week, he'll be like, I want to do a gospel album. And then he'll fucking do a gospel album. And I'll be like, yo, this shit is crazy.
Yeah.
So, like, yo, shout out to him. Like, I used to hate him, but, like, I love him, love him. I had to get past that.
Right.
And love and respect how crazily talented he was. But I think you have that same kind of like pick up anything, and now you're just proficient
doing it. No, I appreciate that, and like it was cool. And my first like official instrument, like when I was in elementary and middle school, I played the trombone, and I was first chair in the trombone. Like my band teacher, Mr. Twig from what was it, Patuxent Valley Middle School. He was the shit. Okay. But like he like really put me like, he was like, you are amazing. You need to act like you're amazing. This white man. This white man who had so much faith in this little black girl it was so cool.
Sorry.
What the hell? That scared the shit out of me.
Oh, yeah, right. My bad. Let me put that on silent. I always do that every fucking show. My phone always goes off. It's always Pablo Escobar interrupting interviews.
What the hell?
Well, you gotta watch Narcos, baby. It's so important that you watch Narcos.
But okay.
It's critically important.
But I didn't really, and I'm writing music. I'm playing the trombone in elementary school. My first solo that happened was in chorus in the 4th grade. Mr. Monroe, another white man, gave me my first solo. And then when I was in middle school, my chorus teacher, Miss Dawn Francis, she was this black woman who could sing opera. It was the first time I ever heard a black woman singing something that wasn't R&B or reggae.
That's deep.
And she could sing opera music. And we had a assignment one day where we had to write music, and I wrote this really sad song. Again, like I wrote this it's a beautiful song. I wrote it on the piano, and I was teaching myself piano at the time. and I'm like, what, 12? And she puts my song in the winter concert, and she tells me that I can sing my song in front of the parents and all of that. Like,
wow.
At the chorus
An
concert.
Original song, they let you just go for it.
And she let me go for it. So I was like, yo. So from there, I kept writing. And at the time in middle school, I was doing a lot of weird shit that got me bullied. I put the responsibility on myself because I was lying a lot. But I was seeking attention because I wasn't getting it from where I wanted it from. Mm-hmm. So I was doing all of that. And for that to be, it kind of shifted my focus. And from there, I saw the movie Step Up. If you've seen the movie Step Up, it's based on a Baltimore school. It's based on Baltimore School for the Arts. And when I saw this place, I'm in the 7th or 8th grade, and I was like, I want to go to that school. I think it was in the 8th grade. Mm-hmm. And then I looked up Maryland School for the Arts. That's what it's called in the movie. You're good. It's called Maryland School for the Arts in the movie. I looked that up, and it comes up as Baltimore School for the Arts. And I have my ring on. Mm-hmm. Because the auditions were like 3 months after I watched that movie for the first time. And then I went and auditioned. I was going to audition on trombone, and I decided last minute to audition on voice. And then I got a rejection letter, and I got waitlisted. And then in the summertime, I got my acceptance letter, and I went to Baltimore School for the Arts, class of 2015, and I graduated with classical voice. And so I was doing classical voice, and I was singing like opera, and we got to do one contemporary show every year where we did like Michael Jackson, we did Adele, we did like all these really cool things, and I learned, theory, and then I had to play piano to pass classes, so I taught myself piano. I became proficient in accompanying myself, and I wrote more music, and I met like lifelong friends. Like one of my best friends, we've been friends for over 10 years now. I met her before I went to BSA, and she happened to go to BSA as well. So like, these kinds of connections. She's also a musician, very talented singer. We work together now, and so I've been doing music in all of these interesting different facets for a very long time.
Right.
And so now it's, snowballed into me performing my own music, into me doing digital composition, learning about sound design, and being in a band that does hip rock, and then also being my own, solo artist that does like some type of fusion of jazz with classical influence, with reggae influence, and with neo soul influence, and with some blues and rock influence. So yeah, like here I am now. But that all stemmed from me being like that weird, sad 11-year-old singing a song about like overcoming challenges when, you might
have been channeling like a spirit or whatever, or an energy from another time
period. Whatever it is, yeah. So, but I started doing music to heal myself. I started doing music to heal like generational trauma. I think that I was singing, or I've been singing for other people for a very long time. So it's like now I'm singing for myself, which is really amazing.
I think that was a difficult thing, was trying to find my voice. Even though I was a rapper, it was trying to find my voice, and then to find what I was comfortable putting out there. I didn't know at the time. I would be writing and I would scratch out stuff and avoid certain subjects, but it was just, I had to realize that it was a lot of stuff that I hadn't found comfort in, talking about or saying things, and it took a long time. I didn't know it would take that long, because in the movies they make it seem like you're just gonna go in the studio and it's like you're gonna pour your whole life out.
Right.
But it's not. I mean, it depends on the type of person you are.
Yeah.
Some people are just open like that, but then some people have to find their way into that openness, and then some people have the ability to become so many different things. Mm-hmm. One of the people that the guy I talked about earlier, Michael Warner, he wrote so many albums while we were in our time period working together. He could become anybody. He could meet you, talk to you, and then I'm not gonna say develop your voice. He would find out your brain, and then he could write from your perspective.
Yeah.
And like, not like slow. It would be like,
yeah, I love it.
Like, that shit was weird. Like the way because I'm sitting there for days trying to write 2 verses, but he could come up with a whole album concept and do all this other stuff, and I thought that was such an amazing thing. So like, for you, it seems like you were just blessed with that ability to find your voice probably earlier, or be able to channel so many different energies to make things dope. So That's what's up. So, can you tell me the name of the first album?
So then, I can't.
Is this a secret?
I can't. No. It's no secret. So I am still working on the album.
Okay.
I've recorded like more than half of it now.
Okay.
There is a single out. It's the name of the album is the title of the single as well. It's called Ikrosai.
Okay.
Ikrosai is a sigil for I am sound creator.
Okay.
So, because I am sound creator. So,
you are a sound creator.
Yes, I'm creator of the sound. That is the basis of the entire song.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, the album is called Ikrosai. Every song that I ever write, outside of like when I was younger, now is all about like me loving myself, me really getting to understand myself and know myself. Mm-hmm. Because I recognize that like writing music for other people, I can, talk all day about like how you need to love yourself or you need to love people or, love makes the world go round or whatever. But like, what good is that if I'm not expressing that I love myself?
Facts.
You know what I'm saying?
Facts.
Like,
super facts.
So that's all that ever comes out to begin with. And I know that translates to other people as like, me too. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's recognized that this love becomes an extension like towards that person, and then that person will receive that and recognize what they need to work on for themselves. They might write music or work in their own mediums and then share that, and it's just like this butterfly effect that happens. Okay,
so let me ask you this question. So when you step outside of your individual creative process and then you step into the Eat the Cake band, Eat the Cake anime.
Yeah.
When you step into the Eat the Cake band, how is it different?
So, oh my goodness.
And how is the writing process different?
Yeah. So I will say I walked into Eat the Cake, or I was accepted into Eat the Cake, and they already had this huge catalog of music. Like Miz, the lead vocalist of Eat the Cake, is an incredible writer, like incredible. So a lot of it was just me learning how to use what she wrote and translate it into my own voice and then integrate that. So we've only ever written one song together. We have some songs in queue to write together, but the first song we wrote together is called Every Nowhere, and that is on Spotify and like all the things, and the music video is available on YouTube. It's called Every Nowhere. It's one word. And I had started to write it, but it was interesting because the way that happened was the guitarist Claire, she had, from her MySpace days, had a song, an instrumental that she wrote or she created from 2009, years ago. And she just like started playing it one day, and I was like, oh my gosh, I really like this. Can I write to it? And she was like, yeah, whatever. So I start writing to it. I write a chorus, and then the next rehearsal, Miz writes a verse or the verses, and then we just like create more sounds. The other vocalist, Nichelle, I guess we're all leads, because we're all like the front people of the band. There is no like specific like lead outside of Miz. Miz is kind of like our like head, but like she's very good at like allowing the energy to disperse, and whoever's meant to take on the leadership role at that time like does that. But yeah, the other lead vocalist, Nichelle, she like created some like just really pretty like melodies and oohs and ahs, like what if we do this? And so it just was this very like this bouncing off of each other type of energy. Like no one person had more to do than the other person. Unless they wanted to, you know what I'm saying? So our writing process together is really, really amazing. And the way that we go about like just being with each other is incredible. Like I love the energy of Eat the Cake. We work so well together, and we have so much fun together. Like I've only known them for a year now, but it feels like I've known them forever. So
because I've listened to records, and one record sounds completely different from the next.
Yeah.
What is the purpose of Eat the Cake? Could you
yeah.
What is like, is there like a motto or a mantra or we're here to, I don't know.
It's interesting. I really I'm hoping that we can have another conversation where we have, Miz on, or have the members of the band. Yeah.
I'm a fan of Miz, but not for the music side. Yeah, but like she does these like Instagram.
Yes, the Science of Peace. Shout out to Science of Peace.
She's attractive, but then she also draws you in with the deep conversation. I'm sorry, I can't help it. I'm a guy. What do you want me to do?
You good.
You know what I'm saying? I can't control it. I get horny. What do you want me to do?
You acknowledge beauty where it is.
You motherfucking right. She is just, and then like she's very it seems like there's such a serious energy, but at the same time it's still Like, she's not like aggressive, but it's like you can really feel what this really serious.
Sag.
Word.
Yeah.
See, there you go. Aries and Sag.
Yeah, Mrs. very, very, very spiritually like in tune with herself. So she's very good at expressing that in ways that other people will understand, because she doesn't like project her own emotions or thoughts. She's like, she just opens the door for you to be able to experience yourself more. Right. You know what I'm saying? So, but I feel like
Sages have that effect on people.
If you want to know what I will say about like the mission of Eat the Cake, I do, from my perspective, it seems like Eat the Cake is here to like normalize Black women being the heads of like rock bands, because it's been very, very taken over by like white men, and that's, you know, whatever, like that happened. Rock and roll came from gospel, and we all know the stories with like, I mean, well, do we? Okay, rock and roll.
She's about to get into a history lesson.
Rock and roll stemmed from gospel music. There is a mother of rock and roll. Her name is like Esther or something. This black woman, this beautiful black woman from like early on. Can't think of like the time period, but and then that stemmed into like blues and jazz and R&B, and somehow rock and roll kind of came from all of that. And then white people kind of like took over the space, and then black people nowadays be like, oh, rock and roll is some white people shit, which is like not accurate. You know what I'm saying? If you go back to the history of rock and roll, a lot of like old time jazz even sounds rock-like.
Rock and roll is squarely from black people, and when you talk about the original first rock and rollers, they were black. Now the names are, I know the names, and I can see the faces, but I can't add them. I'm sorry. Today I'm at a rut.
Yeah.
For information, I am sorry. I'm the type of person, sometimes when I am enjoying conversation, you ever be around somebody and you're so enjoying the conversation and everything goes so fast that information can't. I'd be like, yo, there's a fucking shit. Like, from the beginning, when I was trying to say, you remind me of something from the beginning of our conversation, it took me an hour to realize that I was trying to say Erykah Badu.
Oh, word.
You were trying to be like I'm like, yo, you were like a new Erykah Badu vibe out here. You know what I'm saying? That I remembered it.
That's so appreciated. She is the motherfucking GOAT. It's so funny. I went to a concert. Woo! So... Okay.
Let's go.
Me, as I have, you know, come into my understanding of who I am and like what I am able to do, I went to a concert of hers and I spent the entire night like plotting. I was like, I'm gonna sing with Erykah Badu. I'm gonna sing with her. I'm going to sing with Erykah Badu. I put it in my mind. I was envisioning like my name on the marquee and everything. Like I was really in it. So I ended up in the front of the line. I got there late, but I was in the front of the line. I ended up being in the front row of, and she ended up coming down into the front row to allow people to sing with her. And I was like really channeling my energy, so much so that the people around me were passing out. Like, and you can appoint that to heat exhaustion or what have you, but it was so interesting that I was standing in the middle of three people, one on this side, one on this side, and one behind me, in like a triangle formation that passed out. When the first opener came out, somebody on my left passed out. Second opener, somebody behind me passes out. When Erykah comes out, someone on my right passes out. And then right after that person gets taken out, she comes down to sing with people. And I'm like, not even I'm like, okay, I hope they're okay, but like, I'm gonna sing with Erykah Badu. Not even realizing that I'm siphoning so much energy that it's making people like not be okay. And she looked at me in my eyes, and she looked at me and she looked away, because I feel like she was like, I don't know what you want, but I don't think I want to do that. You know what I'm saying? And then at the last moment, when I'm about to like sing with her, she's about to hand the mic to me. So like the person I was with at the time had picked me up to move me closer, thinking that they were like helping me in my goal, but it was like karma happened, and all these people rushed in front of me when that person moved me, and I didn't get to sing with Erykah.
Oh no!
And it was like instant karma, like, you feel me? Which is so interesting, because I feel like she knew what was going on, and it took me a minute to realize that I needed to like be more balanced in my energy. So that's my only experience with Erykah Badu, but I do hope I get to sing with you one day, and we can talk about this and laugh, and you can be like, yes, child.
Yeah, I'll get you hooked up with Erykah, man. We gotta get y'all together, man.
Yo.
I honestly like how like the Eat the Cake band reminds me of that vibe. It reminds me of that late 90s neo soul, but y'all got that heavy rock influence. Yeah. But I love that, especially with the imagery and everything. Yeah. I was like, yo, that really, I was like, oh, all right, I see y'all tapping into some, not old school, but to me, I'm like, it's an old school vibe. But, you know, you guys have your own twist on it. Yeah. You know, and I think it's really phenomenal. You know what I mean? And mainly because y'all didn't go, well, this is what they doing, like, I need to go and try to do that better or mimic it. Y'all was just like, yo, they're all over here, we're going to go way over here. Right. And just do something completely different. And I love that. And I've always wanted to start a band that was all chicks.
Yeah. Well, we do have one guy in there. Our drummer, Jared. I was about to call him J-Red. We call him J-Red. I love it, too, because he's the only man, and he's also a white man, white, straight male, in a group of all black, like queer, except for Nichelle. Nichelle is not queer, but black woman. You know what I'm saying? And he is so comfortable in the space, and we are so comfortable with him. And so that's really, really exciting. But yeah, all the front women are black, so that's really, really cool.
I don't know what it is about. Shout out to all of my white friends, but it's like the white guys that get comfortable in being in the black community. Those people are just be chilling, nigga. Yeah. They be in the cut. What and you need, bro? So, you good? You need anything? And it's just like they can morph into that. You know what I mean? Yo. And I love that. And you know what's crazy? Because I'm thinking, could it be a black dude? Can a nigga do that? Can a dude just come and be around a bunch of chicks and not try to hit on all of them? Right. You know what I'm saying?
Or try to assert some level of power over it. But what's interesting, I think that what helps is that Jared is a psychology major, so he's very aware of himself in a way that not a lot of people in general are. So I feel like he's able to like recognize his privilege, and when we make fun of him for being a straight white man, he's like, yeah, whatever.
I can't change it.
You know what I'm saying?
The privilege is there.
And he's just really cool with like having these kinds of conversations. And it really benefits us being able to be more compassionate towards white people, even though we're like, but we don't need you in our spaces. But we're very accepting of people in general. If that makes sense.
That's a part of our culture.
Yeah.
You know, to a benefit and a detriment.
Yeah.
Us as black people, we are. I'm gonna say it like this, because that way black people can feel a little bit more happy about themselves. When you've always been the shit, and when you're on a chemical and when you're on a basic, what's the word? As a creation in the universe, when you are naturally better physically, you are less worried about other people when they come around. And when you see a family unit, when you see a black community, we most of the time are so comfortable with where we are, how we are. When other people come in, we generally just accept them in because it's like you don't look at it as a threat. I don't look at this guy as a threat. I don't look at this person as a threat. Yeah. And you come in and you accept them and you bring them into your family.
Yeah.
Whereas when you see other cultures, they may fear out of an inferiority complex or whatever. So like a black person will come around being strong and, you know, kind of the way we are in a natural state, people will feel this fear out of it. Think about racism and how it's always existed. Hey, the black man is a monster. Oh, you mean I'm more powerful than you? I am stronger than you. I am more, tolerant. I can withstand more than you. So that you fear it. So you either push it away, you destroy it, you try to push it down. Whereas generally black people, when we are born and raised, we don't fear. We fear because
we're taught
to fear. But on a natural level, when you're a child, we fear nothing. You know what I mean? And we don't necessarily need to dominate.
Right.
We just exist.
Because it's like, just because, like, it's like all energy exists here. Like, yin and yang all exist in one space.
Right.
So for me to exude light and exude power and exude all of my natural, like, confidence does not mean in any way, shape, or form that I am bigger than you. But if you choose to make yourself small because I'm in the same space, that has nothing to do with me.
Right.
I'm not going to, nurture that because you shouldn't nurture it.
Correct.
You know what I'm saying?
Correct. And in every community that I've lived in, it has always been more natural for black people to take in others, to where no matter what culture they're from, like, we'll take you in and we'll make you a part of the family. Whereas I've lived in Caucasia, and they will take you in, but the treatment is less of a equal and more of a, you're different and special. You know what I mean? You become a totem or like a token or whatever, and it's not intentional. It's more. Once again, it's more of an unconscious, wow, you have so many abilities that I don't have.
Right.
You have so much that I don't have. Right. So I pedestal you, but at the same time, I hate the fact that I'm pedestaling you, and then
so I'm trying to make you feel small.
Right. So there's a little bit of putting you on a pedestal and then throwing a rock at you at the same time.
Yeah. Absolutely.
So,
absolutely.
And a lot of times in me living in Caucasia as a grown man, and there's a difference. I feel like there's such a big difference between the two. If I was to have lived in Caucasia as a child, my mentality would probably be a little different, meaning that I would try to fit in, or I would try to make other people feel comfortable. But But as a grown man, I'm just kind of like, nigga, I pay rent here, motherfucker.
Right.
Like, you know what I'm saying? And I'm here because this is where I'm at and I'm comfortable being here. And me exuding that energy forces everybody else more into a more submissive space around me. And I recognize that I don't even like people feeling like that. So I spent a lot of time making everybody else feel comfortable. And then inevitably they end up falling in love with me, and that because of the fact that they're not used to that.
Right.
You're not used to a person that can come in and be as loving and caring and whatever, which is a natural state of Blackness.
People. And I think it's so interesting too, because like me, I was born here. I'm first generation. So like my parents and my grandparents were born in Africa. I was born here, so I grew up around like Africanness, like, but my mom had been here since she was 14, so like she had already been well integrated into the Black community. But like, you know, Black people in the 90s, first off, Black people in the 90s did not fuck with her at all. Like they didn't like the fact that she had braids. They didn't like the fact that she wore like these like all the stuff that you see now with the awakening of the diaspora. Like she was bullied for it, and her best friend, my godmother, to this day is not even Black. She's Hispanic. She is like Latinx, but like she's still, you know what I'm saying, a little like a subsect of like what Blackness or brownness is here. And then like me, I grew up in like a space. I grew up in Howard County, so like I was born in Tacoma Park, like PG County. Went to private school, but there were a lot of Black kids. I always found myself wanting to be a part of the Black community because I never felt like I really fit into it. And I did not, from a very young age, white people would always fetishize me. It was a very weird form of racism that is very like covert and like underlying, where people would be like, oh, well, you're not a Black person that was born in the projects, so you're clearly someone that we can feel safe around. And your mom made it a point that you didn't speak slang in the house, so, you know, we can talk to you and you can understand us. Clearly you're more intelligent than they are, right? So like these
were things that they literally said, or you just
I picked those things up, where like people would be like, oh, you're different. Oh my gosh, you're not like them. Your name is different. You have different features. Or we meet your mom and we can tell that she's not from here, even though she can speak just as well as we can. Like it was just those kinds of things. So I had rejected that already from a very young age. So I was always seeking to be a part of the Black community, but I never felt Black enough because I was like I wasn't raised to believe anything. Like I didn't have a clear understanding of what it meant to be Black or what it meant to be African. I just knew that I was here. You know what I'm saying? And that my parents spoke a different language.
That's
and
so
that we had brown skin.
So like I was raised in a very pro-Black household. So like my mother and father were very much into the civil rights movement. They were very much into that whole kind of like, you got to remain Black and Black culture. And like the whole house had African, because they had went to Africa and stayed for 2 months, and then they brought home tons of African stuff. So like they were not African per se, but they really had an appreciation, and then they really were very much into the community. Even to this day, even the way my businesses are structured, we really try to give Black people as many opportunities as possible. But anyway, back to the business. Like when I moved into the white community, I never thought that I was being fetishized. I never thought, but at the end of the day, like I never gave a shit. Like I was just like, I'm here because you guys have better houses and I don't have to spend as much money. Oh, you guys got a pool in the backyard. Oh shit. You know what I mean? And I was just comfortable. Now, they said the same thing, like, yo, you speak really well. Yeah. And there was a point where I looked at it from the perspective of I see the other Black people that they meet, and I can hear their accent. I can hear how they use slang or whatever. And I just thought of it as, hey, all right, you found somebody where I talk, I can clarify my point. I can speak to you. I can speak to you in your language. Right. But that doesn't mean that I'm separate from Blackness. Right. Exactly. But it came down to the point where I think all of my white friends love me because I never push Blackness on them. Yeah. I'm just here. I'm doing what I'm doing, and this is how my family is. This is how my culture is, and you guys can live the way you live, and no one is better or worse than the other. It is just what it is. And when I don't even like it, when I'm around my white friends, and then other Black people come and they try to like blackety black it up even more, because and it's just like, yo, nigga, they just trying to get drunk and get high. Nigga, sit your ass down. Stop trying to be extra gangster. Like, you know what I mean? Stop trying to be extra hood. Like, you know what I mean? And I think that is something that made me unique in the spaces that I was in, you know, and made people want to embrace me more, because even now to my belief system, I've never I don't talk about it. I don't try to push it on. I feel like you exist to exist. Whatever you are will come out through your pores.
Absolutely. I was literally just about to say that. I'm like,
through the way you are.
Yeah, like,
you know, if you're a good person, you'll realize it over time. Like,
right.
it's that. If I am something for you, you will naturally gravitate to it. And if it's not, then you'll naturally not gravitate to it. And that becomes a part of becoming mature. And once again, like you were saying, like when you're secure in who you are, you don't really worry about it. Like,
yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
My parents were very big on just like respect yourself, because nobody's gonna respect you if you don't respect yourself. So with that, like when I would like learn about, because when I was coming up and I was doing all the music and stuff, I fell in love with like Paramore, but I didn't fall in love with Paramore because they were skater, or because they were white, or because I was seeking an affinity to whiteness or anything like that.
You just like Paramore.
But then I also loved reggae music. So like white people when I was like in middle school, I was like super skater, and like, but I was also like super African. But like people like my white friends tokenized me as the black person that was able to resonate with them like in those ways, and black people tokenized me as the African person in their spaces that was like had all these different intersections of blackness. And so like I found myself in a very interesting space where like I didn't feel like I fit in anywhere, but I realized that me trying to fit in anywhere consistently caused me suffering. So
if I may say, and I could be completely wrong in this, but in my purview and my perspective, you tokenized yourself because the way you reacted to how they were reacting to you, where they were. I can see somebody as being different and not put them in a box.
Yeah.
But I am going to recognize that you're different.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And that's, in my belief, that's what a lot of people's reactions to me were. I've never felt fetishized.
Yeah.
I've always felt like they recognized that I was different, and it is what it is. And and maybe because I didn't give a fuck, that it never became a thing.
Yeah.
But if you feel fetishized, or if you feel like people are doing this and doing that to you, you'll end up sometimes you create the complex. You create the scenario.
Yes, and I absolutely did. Even if it was really subtle from other people, what I ended up doing is making myself so much other than, so that nobody could try to put me in a box anywhere. Right. So like I made myself other in every single way that I could possibly think of.
Word.
Like, every single way.
Let me tell you the secret.
Like,
create your own box for yourself and then bring everybody else into it. That is the way I live my life. I create a world for myself, and then I bring people into it, and I kick people out as I please, so that I can be comfortable.
Word.
That is it. Like everywhere I go, even when I go into somebody else's space, it's like you find a corner or you find an area, you create this is my area, and then I accept people into it and out of it so that I can feel comfortable.
Word.
Like that is how I think that is the habit of powerful people. I hate to say that, you know, and I'm not trying to say that because I feel like I'm powerful, but you control the space that is yours. So when you take a space and then you put the elements in it that make you comfortable, and then comfort is only what I can control and what I can't control.
Yeah.
Or what makes me blossom versus what makes me shrivel.
Yeah.
So when you create and when you constantly learn how to create an environment, and then you install the things that'll make your area grow, then you're always going to be in your best. You're always going to be protected. You're always going to be, in a place where you can move things around.
Right.
And, it's so funny because a lot of people never learn how to create their own environment and to control it. And controlling it doesn't mean to scream at somebody. Sometimes it just means we're going to take up I'm taking my bag and I'm going home. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. I'm taking my toys and I'm out. You know what I mean? Like, and sometimes it's learning how to exude so much, whatever it has to be, to bring people into your space. A lot of times I'm blessed to be a big black man, and I use it in the way of big laughter, big conversation, big thought to bring people into my energy. So you could come in feeling some kind of way, but through all of the crazy, corny jokes or whatever, I bring you into my energy. I exude this to bring you out of where you are, to bring your vibration up to where I am, so that you can exist in my existence. So, I hope that can help.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
I do appreciate that. No, and I do feel very similar in where, like, I've taught myself to exist in this space of being very comfortable with myself, so that any space that I enter into that becomes shared space with other beings, like I very early on I was a floater, so like I would float between friend groups, float between like familial friend groups, because they're like friends amongst cousins and stuff like that. Like I was just